Chapter 181. Creak. The door opened and Zhang Yao stepped out of the room. The moon tonight was very round, and there were no clouds in the sky. Under the bright moonlight everything was so clear. A white mist came out from his nose and mouth, exuding a cold aura. He closed the door and turned around. The situation in front of him made him stop abruptly. His eyes stared at the figure that suddenly appeared in the yard. "It's so late. Why aren't you sleeping with your wife? What are you going to do?" The terrifying mutation gave Zhang Yao night vision. He saw the face of the person who came. It was Zhou Fu who released him during the day. Zhang Yao's eyes, which were covered by the white flesh membrane, began to glow red. He let out a low growl. He looked like a ferocious beast. Zhou Fu slowly walked towards Zhang Yao. As he walked, a faint black mist came out from under his feet and from his shadow. After 5 steps, the ground of the small yard was covered by the black mist. Roar! Zhang Yao felt that the black mist didn't reach his feet. He let out a roar. Only then did he notice the change on the ground. He suddenly stomped his foot, and a grayish-white fog gushed out from his body, instantly pushing away the black fog around him. "Oh!" Zhou Fu's eyes lit up. He looked at Zhang Yao with interest. "I didn't expect your power to increase at night." After releasing Zhang Yao at noon, Zhou Fu felt a little uneasy. After all, Zhang Yao's strangeness, in Zhou Fu's memory, was second only to the calamity in Heiyang City. Although including this time, Zhou Fu had only seen 2 strange occurrences. Especially at night, Zhou Fu couldn't even calm down to meditate. So he came to this small yard. He didn't expect to see Zhang Yao's mutation. "Come, let me see how much you've improved with your hideous appearance." Roar. Originally, Zhang Yao was filled with hatred towards Zhou Fu. Now that he was provoked by such contemptuous words, the anger in his heart instantly erupted. Zhang Yao's palms suddenly enlarged. His palms were covered with greenish-black veins. His 10 fingers were covered with black nails that glowed with a dark cold light. Zhou Fu roared and arched his body slightly. Suddenly, he exerted force under his feet. The grayish-white fog rolled up and the ground cracked open. 10 sharp black lights shot towards Zhou Fu. A strong gust of wind blew against Zhou Fu's face, and the sharp wind from the claws made Zhou Fu feel cold. Not enough. Zhou Fu shook his head and punched out. The fist that was wrapped in the orange-yellow armor shattered the black light. With a bang, the fist smashed away Zhang Yao's sharp claws and landed on his face, sending him flying. Almost. With a thought from Zhou Fu, the black fog climbed up the door and windows of Qin Wenyao's room. It was like a creeper creeping into the room. "You've already become like this, and you still have this little ability? If you don't satisfy me, the 3 of you can go on your way." Zhou Fu's tone was very cold. "Why?" Zhang Yao stood up and glared at Zhou Fu. "I've already given you what you want. Let us go. I swear, the 3 of us will never appear in Ning'an City again. Let us go." Zhou Fu smiled. "Go? Why do you think I'll let you go?" Just based on the hatred between Zhang Yao and Bai Lang, Zhou Fu couldn't let him go. Otherwise, how could he exchange the body refining Hall's techniques with Bai Lang? Although he still didn't know what techniques Bai Lang had, there was still a glimmer of hope. "What do you want for you to let us go?" Sigh. Zhou Fu sighed. "Let's not talk about these useless things. Turn around and take a look." Zhang Yao turned around as he was told. His body shook violently. At this time, a large amount of black fog had already entered Qin Wenyao's room. "If you don't want your Zhang family's bloodline to end, let me see what this strange power of yours is." After killing Ghostface during the day, Zhou Fu realized that the powder could nourish his body. The benefits of the powder were not only mild, but it also lasted for a long time. Therefore, Zhou Fu saw the light of rapidly increasing his physical fitness from the powder. Most importantly, the Wisdom King scripture that he cultivated had a restraining effect on this power. This was simply meat delivered to his mouth. If he didn't take it, he would be punished. He wanted to go to the strange village to take a look. First, he had to know what this power was. Then I'll show you. Zhang Yao stood in the same place for a while. Suddenly, he raised his head. His eyes had already turned dark red. Rumble! The grayish-white fog suddenly exploded, dispersing the surrounding black fog. Zhang Yao's body suddenly distorted, turning into a black shadow that suddenly appeared in front of Zhou Fu. Die! His arms felt like they were being stabbed by spears. The clothes on Zhang Yao's arms were suddenly torn apart. Veins that looked like withered vines appeared on them. His jet-black fingertips were like sharp knives, stabbing towards Zhou Fu's chest. Dang! A pair of hands covered in orange armor blocked the attack. The vibrating armor kept the black light outside. Zhang Yao's eyes were filled with anger. Streaks of grayish-white fog wrapped around his arms. The strength on his arms was also increasing. Kacha! The crisp sound of porcelain breaking could be heard. Cracks appeared on the orange armor on Zhou Fu's arms. Zhang Yao was overjoyed. Die! At this moment, his arms suddenly swelled up. It looked very uncoordinated, but his strength suddenly increased. His jet-black claws pierced forward. Bang! The armor shattered. Just when Zhang Yao was overjoyed, thinking that he would be able to see Zhou Fu bleeding, he heard a dang sound. He looked over in shock. The skin on Zhou Fu's palms and wrists had a layer of bronze color. Zhang Yao's 10 sharp claws pierced Zhou Fu's palms, but there wasn't even a dent on them. Moreover, the feedback force made him feel like what he pierced wasn't a pair of palms, but a solid rock wall. How? Zhang Yao was dumbfounded. He used all his strength to finally break Zhou Fu's armor. Although he knew that Zhou Fu didn't use his full strength, it was really hard for him to accept that he couldn't even hurt Zhou Fu's skin. You are. Zhang Yao didn't even know what to say. He didn't know what to say at this moment. Sizzle! A puff of white smoke rose from Zhou Fu's palms. At the same time, he felt pain. He focused his gaze. The pain came from his palms, where Zhang Yao's claws touched. What a strong corrosive force! Zhou Fu's palms trembled, relying on his powerful strength to push Zhang Yao to the side. He looked back at his palms. There were 10 red dots on his palms, where Zhang Yao's claws had pierced. After breaking the contact, the corrosion disappeared. Zhou Fu muttered. Before he could finish his sentence, the red dot on his palm had already disappeared. This was the embodiment of his powerful physique. He raised his head and looked at the frightened Zhang Yao. He said, "Again, let me see what else is so special about this damn thing. If I'm satisfied, I promise to spare your Zhang family's bloodline." Pointing at Chen Wenyao's room, he said, "I'll send him out of Ning'an City and find a quiet village to leave him there." Zhang Yao was struggling. Although he knew that Zhou Fu didn't intend to let him go, Zhou Fu didn't say it directly. Therefore, he still had a glimmer of hope in his heart. At this moment, after hearing Zhou Fu's words, he had mixed feelings. He didn't want to die. Even if he had become a ghost now. "What are you still hesitating for?" Seeing that Zhang Yao was silent, Zhou Fu didn't want to waste time with this person. He had to go back to sleep later. "You forced me to do this," Zhang Yao roared. A large amount of grayish-white smoke rose from his body and then soared into the sky. In midair, Zhang Yao's body suddenly expanded. Ferocious bone spurs stretched out from his joints. At this moment, he had completely lost his human appearance. Roar! A loud roar caused the air around him to begin to vibrate. Before the roar disappeared, a claw came at Zhou Fu's head. The first thing that came to Zhou Fu's side was the grayish-white fog. Like chains, it wrapped around him. Cold. Heavy. As soon as the grayish-white fog came into contact with him, Zhou Fu felt his body suddenly become heavy, causing the circulation of his blood and qi to slow down a little. Not only that, just as Zhou Fu was about to make a move, his head suddenly became dizzy and the speed of his attack slowed down. Zhang Yao took advantage of this moment to arrive in front of Zhou Fu. The sharp claw came down from the sky. At this moment, Zhou Fu was too late to make a move. However, he didn't panic. Instead, he tilted his head back and dodged the sharp claw. Bang! Zhang Yao's attack landed on Zhou Fu's chest. The sharp and cold attack exploded. The ground under Zhou Fu's feet suddenly sank, smashing his feet into the ground. Boom! Following that, the ground around Zhou Fu exploded. Shockwaves mixed with soil and gravel splashed out. Seeing that his attack was effective, Zhang Yao roared. His terrifying arms danced madly, bringing with them sharp claw winds. Mixed with the gray-white fog, they attacked Zhou Fu. Interesting! An angry laugh came, causing Zhang Yao to be stunned. Following that, a large amount of pale golden light appeared in his eyes, piercing through the grayish-white fog. Then, pale golden fists came down like a storm. Boom! 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 The golden light exploded, and an unstoppable force exploded. Zhang Yao instantly lost control of his body and was sent flying. At this moment, the black fog on the ground twisted and stretched out a large number of ribbons, binding Zhang Yao's legs and fixing him in front of Zhou Fu to receive the storm of attacks. Boom! As Zhou Fu's last punch fell, Zhang Yao's body burst out a mass of black liquid. The terrifying mutation on his body slowly dissipated, and he returned to his human form. Looking at Zhang Yao, who was held up by the black ribbons, Zhou Fu grinned. This damn thing has a spiritual attack. Fortunately, I discovered it in advance. With a wave of his hand, the black fog dissipated. Zhang Yao fell to the ground with a bang and groaned in pain. Zhou Fu said to him, "You can stay here in peace. I will send someone to send Chen Wenyao out." After that, Zhou Fu's figure flashed and disappeared into the night. Cough! About an hour later, Zhang Yao coughed a few times and sat up with difficulty. At this time, his clothes had been reduced to rags, stained with pungent liquid and a large amount of dust. He looked very miserable. However, if one looked carefully, the external injuries on Zhang Yao's body had all healed. What a terrifying attack! This feeling, Zhou Fu should be practicing the martial arts of those bald donkeys. Also, he is practicing the body refining hall's bronze armor art. I wonder if there are other martial arts of the body refining hall. Zhang Yao stood up and looked at Zhang Qingyan's room. He hesitated for a moment and turned to walk into Chen Wenyao's room. Am I going to die? When Zhang Yao entered the room, Chen Wenyao's voice sounded in the room. This hoarse and low voice made Zhang Yao's heart twitch. After a long silence, he slowly said in a low voice, "How could it be?" He walked softly to the bed and stretched out his hand to hold Chen Wenyao's wrist. A cold feeling came from his fingertip. Zhang Yao's pupils suddenly shrank. After calming his mind, he sent a trace of inner strength into Chen Wenyao's body. "Can I still be saved?" Chen Wenyao asked. "Don't think too much," Zhang Yao said. "With me here, you won't die." "Is that so?" Chen Wenyao said calmly, as if the person who was going to die was not him. Although Zhang Yao did not say it, Chen Wenyao already had a prediction in his heart. He did not have long to live. It was as if he had fallen into an ice cave. He could not feel his limbs. How could he survive with such injuries? Zhang Yao retracted his hand and stood in the darkness, trembling. He had already checked Chen Wenyao's current state. If he did not do anything, he would not even be able to hear the rooster crowing in the morning, let alone the sun tomorrow. "Child, if you could leave this place, what would you do?" Zhang Yao suddenly asked. "What would I do? Chen Wenyao laughed. "I will go as far as I can. I don't want to come back anymore. Don't tell me you still expect me to come back for revenge?" The room fell into silence. As time passed, the atmosphere also became oppressive. After a while, just when Chen Wenyao felt that he was about to fall asleep, Zhang Yao said, "Remember what you said. Don't ever come back." After saying that, without waiting for Chen Wenyao to speak, Zhang Yao waved his right hand. A black light flashed and with a sizzling sound, Chen Wenyao's chest was exposed. You? What are you doing? At this moment, Chen Wenyao panicked. Endure it. Don't speak. Zhang Yao shouted in a low voice. A few wisps of gray mist floated out of his mouth and nose and then suddenly entered Chen Wenyao's body. The black light flashed again and Chen Wenyao's chest was torn open, revealing the organs inside. Roar. The next moment blood splattered everywhere. Under Chen Wenyao's terrified eyes, Chen Wenyao stabbed his hand into his chest and pulled out a beating black heart. Remember, don't ever come back. For the sake of my Zhang family's bloodline. Chapter 182. Zhang Yao staggered out of Chen Wenyao's room and came to Zhang Qinyan's door. He pushed the door open and stepped in with his right foot. Just as he was about to lift his left foot, he turned around and saw Chen Wenyao standing not far away. Zhang Yao waved his hand and said nothing. He turned around and entered the room. The door slowly closed. Is this power? Chen Wenyao covered his chest with his right hand. At this moment, he couldn't feel his heartbeat, but he was still alive. Opening his hand, a layer of frost appeared on his pale skin. Wisps of white mist rose from it. This was the cold air. How miraculous! Chen Wenyao, who had just obtained great power, regained his spirit. He had an urge to go back and find Zhou Fu. But as soon as this thought appeared, he extinguished it. This was an illusion. Definitely an illusion. After all, the person who gave him this power was completely suppressed by Zhou Fu. If he went up again, he would only be sending himself to death. I will go to that place to retrieve the item, but not now. Chen Wenyao looked at the closed door and stood silently for a long time. Then, he turned around and walked into the night. He's already a prisoner and he's still not obedient. It's the middle of the night and he made me and my brothers keep an eye on this place. Damn it. A middle-aged man looked through the window and saw everything that happened in the courtyard not far away. Lu Tu, stop complaining. Our Lord just left not long ago. There were 3 other people sitting in the room. On the table in the middle of them, there was tea, wine, and some dishes that had been eaten. The middle-aged man called Lu Tu turned around and sighed. Then, he said, a hothead ran away. Seems like he just obtained some power and foolishly used it. He couldn't even hide it. What a waste. Walking to the table, he picked up the wine glass, tilted his head back and drank. Then, he grabbed a piece of meat from the table. As he chewed on it, he said, however, our mission has been completed. The remaining task of tracking that hothead will be left to Old Wang. Hearing Lu Tu's words, the other 3 people chuckled. Lu Tu was stunned for a moment, then he also grinned. Brothers, pack up. After Shaoli tells Old Wang and the others to come back, we'll go have some fun. These words were highly approved by several people, and the atmosphere also became lively. Let's get straight to the point. This young boss of ours is really generous. Damn it, we're actually rewarded with 100 taels of silver for today's task. TSK. That's right. Now, all the brothers in Ning and East City are full of energy and hope that something will happen every day. It's not like back then, when they didn't even want to move twice even if their butts were on fire. At this moment, the sound of footsteps came from the courtyard, and the bustling noise in the house instantly disappeared. Boss, it's me. A familiar voice came from outside the house, and the expressions on their faces relaxed. Shaoli, hurry up and come in. Pack up, we're leaving. All right. Early the next morning, a guard came to the courtyard. My lord, I have something to report. Zhou Fu had just finished practicing and was resting in the courtyard. The guard said, Sir, Chen Wenyao left the house last night and left the city along the river. Now, there are several people who are good at movement techniques following him. Zhou Fu nodded. Find a few more people to follow him and take turns. Remember, don't alert him. Yes. Just as the guard was about to turn and leave, Zhou Fu thought of something and quickly said, Also, if you see Chen Wenyao in the southeast direction and find a village deep in the forest, and the people there are strange, you must stay away and report back to me. Yes. The guard turned around. My lord, do you have any other orders? At night, don't go near Qin Wenyao. Yes, I'll do it now. Zhou Fu lay in the chair, stretched out his hand and flipped it. After this body strengthening, my strength is a bit too great. Yesterday, when I wanted to break Zhang Yao's limbs, I actually almost blew him up. This is not good. It feels like a small horse pulling a big cart. I can pull it, but I can't control it. Uncontrollable strength is a double-edged sword. It can hurt others, but it can also hurt oneself. This is not what Zhou Fu wants. Do I have to meditate and practice martial arts every day to digest it? Just as Zhou Fu was thinking about how to quickly control his strength, the guard ran over. My lord, Elder Kong is here. Zhou Fu was stunned for a moment, then suddenly sat up. Who is here? Elder Kong Yutsung. The guard repeated. At this time, Zhou Fu suddenly turned his head and looked at the courtyard door. It's me. Kong Yutsung, the right-hand man of Giant Whale Gang, came in with 2 guards. Zhou Fuwei, long time no see. You can leave. Zhou Fu asked the guard to leave, then got up and led Kong Yutsung into the living room. After they sat down, Zhou Fu asked, May I know why Elder Kong is here? Kong Yutsung smiled. Zhou Fuwei has been very busy recently, so I won't say much. It's just that the matter this time is more important, so the gang leader asked me to come. Zhou Fu's eyes flashed. Busy? Could it be that Xing Gang knows something? May I know why Elder Kong is here in person? Kong Yutsung laughed. Since Zhou Fuwei asked, I'll be straightforward. I'm here for one person, Zhang Yao. After hearing this name, Zhou Fu's heart thumped, and countless thoughts flashed through his mind. Why is he looking for Zhang Yao? For the martial arts of the body refining hall? Who is looking for him? Kong Yutsung? Xing Gang? Or the Xing family behind the giant whale? Zhou Fu suppressed the doubts in his heart and said, Zhang Yao? Could it be someone from the Zhang family? Yes. I only found out about this person through the matters of the Chen clan. I won't hide it from Elder Kong. Yesterday, a black-clothed man came to my door. If I didn't have some tricks up my sleeve, I might have fallen into that person's trap. After that, I asked people to investigate, and many people said that the person was Zhang Yao. Zhou Fu's expression turned serious. If Elder Kong is looking for this person, I'll order people to speed up the search. Once there's any news, I'll report it to you. Looking at Kong Yutsung, Zhou Fu sneered in his heart. Looking for him? What are you thinking? Just based on the fact that Xing Gang had forced him to practice the demonic whale-killing fist and suppressed him in all aspects, both openly and covertly, Zhou Fu would rather kill Zhang Yao than let him fall into Xing Gang's hands alive. Furthermore, his immediate superior was the 3rd son of the Xing family, not the 2nd son of the Xing family. Kong Yutsung looked at Zhou Fu and asked, Zhou Fuwei didn't take down that person? That person's body techniques are extremely strange, and he also cultivates poison technique. I can't take him down. Zhou Fu shook his head. In front of Kong Yutsung, he was just an ordinary first-level bone-forging realm cultivator. How could he take down someone like Zhang Yao? Is that so? Kong Yutsung smiled. That's a pity. Then, he asked, how is Zhou Fuwei's cultivation of the tyrannical whale fist? Kong Yutsung's face revealed a concerned expression. This time, Kong Yutsung came to investigate Zhang Yao's whereabouts and to observe Zhou Fu's cultivation progress. Zhou Fu hurriedly expressed his gratitude. He cupped his hands and said, Speaking of this matter, I still have to thank the gang leader. If it wasn't for him giving me the divine skill and spirit pill, I wouldn't have my current cultivation. After he finished speaking, Zhou Fu stretched out his hand, and traces of blood-red mist appeared on his arm. Along with the blood-red mist, a murderous aura appeared in the air. In order to make the scene more realistic, Zhou Fu's eyes became cold and fierce, and traces of red light flowed within them. This change shocked Kong Yutsung, but he didn't show it. he praised, the peak of the first-level bone-forging realm. Zhou Fui's talent is indeed outstanding. Ha 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 ha. Elder Kong is too polite. I can't accept such praise. Zhou Fu laughed as he withdrew the blood-red mist. Sigh. Zhou Fu suddenly sighed. Even so, we still let that thief escape. Looking at Kong Yu Tsung, he said seriously, since this thief is so important to the sect leader, this subordinate will definitely do his best. Seeing that he couldn't get any information from Zhou Fu, Kong Yu Tsung could only smile and nod. Then I'll have to trouble Zhou Fui. I'll take my leave. Elder Kong, take care. Zhou Fu sent Kong Yu Tsung to the door and watched the carriage disappear. Just as he was about to turn around, he saw a carriage coming towards him from the corner of his eye. At this moment, Zhou Fu suddenly had a premonition that this carriage was also coming for him. Sure enough, the carriage stopped at the gate. On the side of the carriage, the word "Bai" was written. A middle-aged man came down from the carriage. He cupped his hands at Zhou Fu and said, "I'm Bai Shuwang. Greetings to Zhou Fui." At this moment, a guard at the side whispered, "Sir, this Bai Shuwang is the current head of the Bai family." Head of the Bai family? Could it be Bai Lang's father? Head of the Bai family is too polite. Please come in. Thank you, Zhou Fui. After leading Bai Shuwang into the living room, the group sat down. After the maids served tea and left, Bai Shuwang spoke first. "Zhou Fui, I apologize for my sudden visit. I'll send a small gift later. I hope that Zhou Fui won't mind." "Haha, head of the Bai family is too polite. There's no need for that." Zhou Fu smiled. Nowadays, Zhou Fu was becoming more and more adept at saying such things. "May I know why head of the Bai family is here?" The smile on Bai Shuwang's face disappeared and was replaced by a helpless expression. He sighed and said, "I won't hide it from External Affairs Emissary Zhou. Recently, I heard that a person called Zhang Yao had offended External Affairs Emissary Zhou. I hope that Zhou Fui knows that Zhang Yao is also an enemy of the Bai family. I'm here today to inquire about the whereabouts of that thief. Please rest assured, Zhou Fui. The Bai family will not let you work for free." After saying that, Bai Shuwang took out a gold note and placed it on the table next to him. "Here's 1,000 gold pieces. If you have any news about that thief, please inform me." How did Zhang Yao offend the Bai family? Bai Shuwang looked like he was struggling. He hesitated for a moment and said, "It's not a secret. I have a nephew called Bai Lang. He's the only son of my elder brother. His character and knowledge are excellent. He's even been recognized by the Bai family as the future head of the Bai family." Sigh. Life is unpredictable. My nephew's fiancée was poisoned by Zhang Yao and left the Bai family to find a way to save her. She left for many years and hasn't returned since. Because of this, the Bai family suffered a great loss. My elder brother is unable to recover from this setback. The Bai family will never be able to live under the same sky as that thief Zhang Yao. Zhou Fu was enlightened. "I see. Sorry to disappoint you today, Patriarch Bai. Yesterday, there was indeed a thief who came to my residence. However, that thief's body was very strong, and he even cultivated a strange poison technique. I fought with him for a while and let him escape." "I see." Bai Shuwang nodded. He was not disappointed or expectant. His expression was calm. "If Zhou Fui receives news, please inform me." He pushed the gold note in his hand. "Take this as the tea fee. Thank you for your hard work." "I can't accept this." Zhou Fu shook his head. "Today you came here for nothing. I don't have any news. How can I let you pay for it?" "Ha ha ha ha!" Bai Shuwang laughed. He stood up and did not take back the gold note. Instead, he cupped his hands and said, "It's fine. I still have other things to take care of. I won't disturb Zhou Fui any longer. I'll take my leave." After sending Bai Shuwang off, Zhou Fu frowned. "It's so early in the morning and they're all looking for me. It seems like there are loopholes everywhere. My lord. Duan Cheng came to Zhou Fu's study room. After bowing, he said, My lord, Zhang Yao has been locked up in the dungeon. Zhang Qinyan is also there. You brought them all? Zhou Fu looked at Duan Cheng in surprise. Yes. Now that Chen Wenyao has escaped, we took Zhang Yao away and left Zhang Qinyan alone. I was afraid that she would ruin things, so I took the initiative to bring her back. You're quite considerate. Leaving Zhang Qinyan alone, Zhou Fu was not afraid that she would leak the secret. When he was fighting with Zhang Yao last night, the surging devil mist had already injured Zhang Qinyan. Facing Zhou Fu's devil mist, even an ordinary bone-forging realm martial artist would not dare to let it invade their body, let alone an ordinary person. Get someone to spread the news that Zhang Yao is in Ning'an City. Also, make it clear that Zhang Yao has a grudge with me. At the same time, get someone to find me another person. Bai Lang. Bai Lang? The young master of the Bai clan? At this moment, Duan Cheng was puzzled. Why was he looking for that person? Zhou Fu nodded. Yes, the young master of the Bai clan. After speaking, he took out a piece of paper and handed it to Duan Cheng. Duan Cheng took it and unfolded it. It was a portrait. The person in the portrait is Bai Lang. Take a good look. If he appears in the city, bring him back. Yes. This subordinate understands. Now that Zhang Yao was in his hands, the next step was to find Bai Lang and use Zhang Yao as a bargaining chip to exchange for the Body Refinement Hall's secret manual. If he could complete the 3 Wheels Origin Transformation Divine Art, that would be the best. Even if he didn't, Bai Lang would definitely have the adamantine battle body. Chapter 183. 2 months later. Zhou Feng, who was sitting cross-legged in the training room, suddenly trembled. A large amount of inner strength emerged from his bones. This inner strength instantly appeared on his skin and condensed into a thin layer of copper armor. It was a bit similar to the Yellow Dragon's protective treasured technique. The difference was that the Yellow Dragon's protective treasured technique was purely the condensation of inner strength. As the inner strength flowed, even Zhou Fu's bones were plated with a layer of copper color, which made them look extremely hard. Huff! A puff of white smoke came out of Zhou Fu's mouth. He opened his eyes and a smile appeared on his face. This bronze armor war body is really powerful. The attribute panel appeared, and the bronze armor art and iron bone secret scroll had disappeared. Instead, it was replaced by the bronze armor war body that Zhou Fu cultivated. Bronze armor war body. Level 3, Strength Enhancement Level 3, Constitution Enhancement Level 3, Special Effect. Tenacious, Zhou Fu stood up, clenched his fist, and suddenly punched out. The air in front of him exploded with a bang. Without assistance, the speed of self-cultivation is a bit slow, but this kind of increase in strength is firm. After getting this bronze armor war body from Zhang Yao, Zhou Fu suddenly had an idea. What if he didn't use assistance and improved it through self-cultivation? After having this idea, Zhou Fu immediately put it into practice. It took him 2 months to upgrade bronze armor war body to level 3. After the cultivation, Zhou Fu felt refreshed. Fairy, upgrade bronze armor war body. Next time, I won't be so stupid. Why don't I use the cheat? Zhou Fu secretly complained in his heart. Sure enough, he was still too young. He was just hot-headed and bumped his head into it. It took him 2 months to upgrade 3 levels. He couldn't accept this kind of efficiency. Ding! Bronze armor war body has been successfully upgraded. Ding! After 2 consecutive notifications, bronze armor war body was upgraded to level 5 by Zhou Fu. Bronze armor war body. Level 5 Great Mastery, Strength Enhancement Level 5, Constitution Enhancement Level 5, Special Effect. Tenacious, Zhou Fu was stunned for a moment when he saw the word Great Success on the auxiliary page, but he soon understood. In the manual of the bronze armor battle body, it was indicated that the upper limit of this technique was the 5th level, and there was no further limit. Feeling the swelling sensation in his body, Zhou Fu knew that his body was already warning him. Therefore, he did not continue to improve this cultivation method. I'll try to improve it next time. I really want to know what it's like to improve it after mastering it. After finishing his training, Zhou Fu walked out of the training room. Suddenly, he felt a chill. It's getting colder. Zhou Fu stood in the courtyard and sighed. Not far away, Yuzhu's voice sounded. "My lord, Jin Peng and Huang Feng are here. Let them come over." Yuzhu turned around and left. Not long after, she walked in with two people. "Greetings, my lord. Sit." Zhou Fu pointed at the chair beside him. "Thank you, my lord." Seeing the two sit down, Zhou Fu said, "Did someone from the headquarters come to urge you again? Since Kong Yutsung came to his door 2 months ago, every 3 days, someone from the giant whale headquarters would come to ask about Zhang Yao, which made Zhou Fu very annoyed. This. Jin Peng was also a little uncomfortable. As Zhou Fu said, it has been 3 days since the last time someone from the headquarters came to ask about Zhang Yao. So, they came again today. My lord, someone from the headquarters did come. I also did what I did before. I greeted the brother who came and sent him away. Zhou Fu nodded and asked, "You two didn't come here for this, right?" Jin Peng and Huang Feng looked at each other, then Huang Feng said, "There are 2 more things. In these 2 months, we followed my lord's decision and slowly wiped out those small forces in the dark. Now, all the small forces in Ning Anong City are our people." So fast? Zhou Fu was not used to such high efficiency for a while. According to his plan, it would take at least 3 months to achieve this goal. In other words, it would take another month. It's like this. Huang Feng explained, "As my lord's business increases, our manpower, money, and various materials also increase. Now, my lord has more than 2,000 guards." Zhou Fu's heart twitched. More than 2,000? When did this happen? Where did so many people come from? Huang Feng continued, "The first batch of 400 guards were all above the 2nd level of bone forging. Among them, leader Duan Qing and 4 veteran experts of the 3rd level of bone forging have already entered the 1st level of blood changing." This time, Zhou Fu was really shocked. Blood changing realm. His subordinates actually had blood changing realm. And 5 of them. When did this happen? Huang Feng quickly said, "Half a month ago. At that time, we had already taken down all the small forces and started to integrate our businesses. Because of this, we obtained a large amount of money and resources. Also, my lord promised to give us the top-grade spirit condensing pills, which led to today's situation." "What about Duan Qing?" Zhou Fu asked. Hearing that Duan Qing had entered the blood-changing realm, Zhou Fu really wanted to see it. "My lord, Leader Duan and a few blood-changing experts are cultivating. According to Leader Duan, after breaking through to blood-changing, there will be a long period of adaptation. It will take at least 20 days to stabilize the realm. If that's the case, then let them stabilize their cultivation first. TSK, blood-changing realm. When he comes out, let's fight," Jin Peng said. "My lord, you have a few older experts of the 3rd level of bone forging under your command. They know that they can't rely on themselves to break through, so they want to ask for a blood-fusing pill." Blood-fusing pill? Zhou Fu had never heard of this name, so he asked, "What is that? I've never heard of it." Jin Peng shook his head. "This subordinate is not too clear, but this time, I brought a guard to ask for a blood-fusing pill. He is outside." "Let him in." "Yes." Jin Peng got up and left. After a while, he brought in a white-haired man who was full of energy. "Subordinate Huang Kai greets my lord." Zhou Fu asked, "Shopkeeper Jin said you need a blood-fusing pill? Can you tell me what it is?" Huang Kai was stunned for a moment, his face filled with disappointment, and said, "My lord, you are a genius. Naturally, you have never heard of this pill. This pill is for people like us who are at the peak of bone forging realm, but have no chance of reaching the blood-changing realm. After using this pill, It can stimulate the body's potential, promote the internal strength to cleanse the blood, and strengthen the body's effect. Although the blood-fusing pill can allow one to enter the blood-changing realm from bone-forging realm, one can only stay in this realm for the rest of one's life. Zhou Fu asked, "If I give you the blood-fusing pill, will you regret it?" Huang Kai laughed bitterly. "What's there to regret? This is the blood-changing realm. There are so many cities in the country of Liang, so how many people can rely on themselves to reach the blood-changing realm, or even break through the blood-changing realm? This old man is more than 60 years old. I've been to Ning'an City other than the North City. With a population of tens of millions, there are not many people who have reached the blood-changing realm, let alone those who have reached the blood-changing realm. Saying that it's 1 in 10,000 is already an open statement. For people like me, who have no background and no talent, there are only 3 to 5 people who can reach the blood-changing realm out of 100,000 people. That's already a miracle. How would I dare to ask for more?" From Huang Kai's voice, Zhou Fu could hear a strong sense of disappointment and unwillingness. According to what he knew, although there was only a fine line between the blood-changing realm and the blood-changing realm, it was the difference between heaven and earth. For people like Huang Kai, who stood in front of the gate of heaven, but could not enter, saying that he was willing was just to comfort himself. However, this had nothing to do with Zhou Fu. Blood-changing realm subordinates were enough for him. If there was really an extraordinary, who knew what kind of trouble it would cause. Extraordinary, as the cultivators called them, would not be willing to be someone else's subordinate. In response to Huang Kai's request, Zhou Fu nodded and said, "I'll remember the blood-fusing pill." "Thank you, master." Zhou Fu waved his hand and dismissed Huang Kai. He turned to look at Huang Feng and asked, "Is there anything else?" "Yes." Huang Feng quickly said, "Master, we found Bai Lang." "Where?" Zhou Fu's eyes lit up. "This morning, my subordinates reported that they found someone suspected to be Bai Lang outside the south gate. Now, my subordinates are following him. We'll arrest him tonight." Zhou Fu said with satisfaction, "You've put in a lot of effort." "Thank you, master." Then, Zhou Fu ordered, "After you bring Bai Lang back tonight, you don't have to send him to the dungeon. Just serve him in the living room." "Yes, I'll remember." After the two left, Zhou Fu lay on the chair again and looked at the sky through the leave. He said softly, "Things are going very well, but there's the matter of the blood-fusing pill. Looks like I'll have to talk to my boss." At night, a dark shadow came to the giant whale's headquarters. "Let me see where Shilong lives." This dark shadow was Zhou Fu. During the day, he suddenly remembered that he didn't know how to contact his boss, which made him feel a little uncomfortable. Then, he remembered that he seemed to have a colleague, and that was Deputy Faction Leader Shilong. It should be here, right? Zhou Fu looked at the spacious courtyard in front of him. There was a particularly familiar aura in it. Then, Zhou Fu's figure flashed and landed in the courtyard like a light feather. Then, Zhou Fu released his qi, blood, and internal force and let them run on their own. When Zhou Fu stepped on the first step, Shilong's voice sounded in the room. "It's the middle of the night. May I know who's visiting?" At the same time, the light in the room was turned on. Zhou Fu grinned and said, "Deputy Faction Leader, sure, it's the middle of the night. You don't have to do anything, right?" He pushed the door open and entered. Shilong, dressed in a tight suit, was sitting on a chair facing the door. Seeing Zhou Fu come in, Shilong was stunned. "Why are you here?" Chapter 184. Shilong narrowed his eyes, revealing a cold glint in them. His entire body emitted a heavy aura, as if he would launch an astonishing attack in the next moment. Zhou Fu, on the other hand, had an indifferent expression. He leisurely walked to the side of the chair and sat down, a faint smile on his face. "I say, old Shur, there's no need to be like this between us, right? I think you've already received the news. We're now in the same boat. In the same boat." Shilong was silent for a moment. His oppressive aura was restrained, but the cold glint in his eyes didn't dissipate. "What are you doing here?" "I want some pills." "Pills?" Shilong's brows furrowed. From the day Zhou Fu joined the gang, he didn't like him. Even after he found out from Xing Feng that Zhou Fu was on their side, he still didn't give him any face. But now, Zhou Fu came to find him in the middle of the night just to ask for pills. This pill wasn't simple. What pill? Blood fusion pill. After hearing this name, Shilong's eyes suddenly widened. He looked at Zhou Fu in astonishment. What? Blood fusion pill? He looked Zhou Fu up and down and asked, "What do you want that for?" "Of course to eat it." Zhou Fu answered matter-of-factly. "Huh." Shilong sneered. Seeing that Zhou Fu didn't answer directly, he didn't continue to ask. "How many do you want?" This question made Zhou Fu feel conflicted. Before coming here, he only wanted pills, but he didn't consider the problem of quantity. According to Jin Peng, he had 400 subordinates at the second stage of the bone forging stage. According to the principle of 3 to 7, if someone at the 7th stage could break through to the 3rd stage of the bone forging stage, he would need nearly 300 pills. Zhou Fu thought for a moment, then said, "How about this, give me 50 pills and a pill recipe." 50 pills? And a pill recipe? Shilong couldn't sit still. At this moment, he felt his temples throbbing. Things like the blood fusion pill were very precious. After all, each pill represented the birth of a blood transformation realm expert. Not only that, but experts who relied on the blood fusion pill to break through to the blood transformation realm could continue to use it after breaking through to accelerate their cultivation until they reached the peak of blood transformation. "I only have 10 pills here. Take it or leave it." After that, Shilong walked back into the house, took out a small box, and threw it directly to Zhou Fu. "I don't have the pill formula. It's late. Zhou Fei, please go back." Zhou Fu put the box away and said, "How do I contact Lord Xingfeng?" Hearing Zhou Fu's question, Shilong's expression became strange. "You want the pill formula?" Zhou Fu had an expression that said, "That's right." Shilong stared at Zhou Fu for a while, then finally revealed a strange smile. "Okay, I'll report this to the 3rd young master." "Thank you, Vice Leader Shi. Goodbye." After getting what he wanted, Zhou Fu's figure began to fade, distort, and finally disappear from the room. Shilong, who had been sitting, suddenly flashed and arrived at the place where Zhou Fu had just disappeared. He stretched out his hand, and the black fog in the air that had not yet dissipated wriggled and floated towards him. Whoosh! A hot wind blew, and the black fog instantly evaporated. The demon whale killing fist. He actually practiced it to this level. Should I say that he's talented, or that he's full of misfortune? It was late at night, and Zhou Fu had returned to his house. At this time, Huang Feng had been waiting for a long time. Seeing Zhou Fu come in, he quickly got up and said, "My lord, I've brought Bai Lang." Zhou Fu was delighted. He took out the small box containing the blood fusion pill and threw it to Huang Feng. "There are 10 blood fusion pills in here. Use them as you see fit." "Yes." Huang Feng was overjoyed and carefully put the box away. With these pills, he would have several more blood transformation realm experts under him in a few days. Moreover, Zhou Fu had brought back so many pills this time. It would give those who had no hope of reaching the blood transformation realm and had become lazy, the motivation to cultivate again. "Where's Bai Lang?" "In my lord's study." Zhou Fu nodded and said, "Okay, it's the middle of the night. You should go back and rest." "Yes, this subordinate will take his leave." After sending away Huang Feng, Zhou Fu went to the study and pushed the door open. At this moment, the tormented man sitting in Zhou Fu's study raised his head and looked at Zhou Fu. Seeing the person in the room, the smile on Zhou Fu's face grew wider. "Brother Bai, long time no see." Bai Lang froze for a moment and frowned. His eyes constantly sized up Zhou Fu as if he wanted to confirm something, but he didn't dare to be too sure. Zhou Fu walked to the chair next to Bai Lang and sat down. He took out a banknote worth 10,000 taels of silver and placed it on the table between the two of them. He then pushed it toward the other person. Bai Lang looked down at the banknote and his heart thumped. He slowly raised his head and stared at Zhou Fu. He said in shock, "You really are Zhou." Just as he was about to say Zhou Fu's name, Bai Lang suddenly thought of the group of people who had captured him in the middle of the night. Even the Bai clan might not have such strength. This was not to say that those people's cultivation was strong, but that they were actually able to seal the road and the restaurant in broad daylight. How arrogant was this! The people living nearby didn't even dare to open their windows. It could be seen how deep the background of these people was. At this moment, he suddenly didn't know how he should address Zhou Fu. Seeing Bai Lang's predicament, Zhou Fu laughed and pushed the banknote. "This is what we agreed on at the beginning. However, there was an accident. When I went to look for Brother Bai again, I couldn't find it. Take it." Bai Lang's face revealed an ugly smile. He took the banknote with difficulty and put it away. Then, "Thank you, young Master Zhou. You're estranged, aren't you?" Zhou Fu shook his head. "If it wasn't for Brother Bai's cultivation methods, I wouldn't be where I am today." Hearing the word cultivation methods, Bai Lang's heart thumped. His mind instantly became clear. So this Zhou Fu had spent so much effort to come here for the cultivation method. After thinking it through, the bitterness on Bai Lang's face became even more intense. How could this be? It's Zhou Fu. Seeing Zhou Fu's unhappy expression, he quickly changed the way he addressed him. "It's because Brother Zhou's talent is unparalleled that you have everything you have today. My things are just icing on the cake." Just icing on the cake. "Brother Zhou, you don't have to be like this." "Brother Bai, you're too polite." Zhou Fu stretched out his hand and revealed his muscular arm. A layer of bronze appeared on his fair skin. "If it wasn't for this bronze armor art protecting me, I would have been cut into pieces. Who knows, my bones might have been taken away by wild beasts." Bai Lang's eyes suddenly widened. He looked at the layer of copper and was completely dumbfounded. "Bronze armor art? This is the bronze armor art?" Zhou Fu grinned. "That's right, this is the bronze armor art. Brother Bai, aren't you too excited? Not only that iron bone secret scroll is also my life-saving method. Thank you so much, Brother Bai." "Ha! Ha!" Bai Lang came back to his senses and laughed awkwardly. His laughter was still intermittent, and he seemed to be very guilty. "Brother Zhou, you're too polite, too polite." He really wanted to cry now. It was true. This Zhou Fu came for his cultivation technique. At this moment, Bai Lang's expression had already pointed out the things between the two of them. Zhou Fu chuckled and said directly, "Brother Bai, there are some things that I'll just say directly." Bai Lang's body trembled as he looked at Zhou Fu. "Brother Bai, you've obtained the inheritance of the body refining hall, right?" Zhou Fu waved his hand and interrupted Bai Lang. "Brother Bai, you don't have to refuse. Although these cultivation techniques have brought me some convenience, they have also caused a lot of trouble. Ever since I came to Ning'an City, I haven't been at peace. If I'm not being chased and killed, I'm killing others. These days have been very fulfilling. Now I know a little about the body refining hall and some of the Bai family's matters. To put it bluntly, I need the body refining hall's cultivation technique now. I really need it." Bai Lang was silent for a while. He raised his head and looked very determined. "Brother Zhou, since you know, I won't hide it from you. I do have a part of the body refining hall's cultivation technique, but I really can't give it to you." Hearing what Bai Lang said, Zhou Fu was not angry. Instead he asked, "Why? Since Brother Bai said so, there must be a reason, right?" Bai Lang looked like he was struggling. Finally, he said with difficulty, "Brother Zhou, I really can't give it to you. What if I buy it?" Bai Lang's eyes widened again, and he looked at Zhou Fu in disbelief. "What do you mean by that?" You didn't intend to buy it just now and just wanted it? Ha 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 ha. I'm just joking. Brother Bai, don't mind me. Looking at the laughing Zhou Fu, Bai Lang couldn't laugh. Brother Bai, I see that you don't have any traces of cultivation. Why can't you sell it to me? Bai Lang remained silent. Zhou Fu nodded and continued. Back in Heong City, you were in need of money. You didn't earn money for your own living. Could it be that you did it for the Jin family's second daughter? You. Bai Lang's expression suddenly became angry. At this moment, Bai Lang's expression explained everything. Zhou Fu nodded. Looks like it's true. Now, the Jin family's second daughter is still haunted by evil, right? Bai Lang was like a deflated balloon. He nodded weakly. Yes, the poison is too evil. I've looked for all the famous doctors, but none of them can cure it. At most, they can suppress it. But after suppressing it for so many years, the poison can't be suppressed anymore. As he spoke, Bai Lang's voice had a hint of sobbing. Brother Bai, if I can cure the Jin family's second daughter, the reward will be the body refining hall's cultivation technique that you inherited. Are you willing? What? You can cure it? Bai Lang was shocked at first, then he shook his head. No, you can't cure it, you can't cure it. Don't be so desperate. What if I can cure it? Bai Lang thought for a while. There was some anger in his eyes. He raised his head and said, If Brother Zhou can cure her, I'm willing to give you most of the body refining hall's cultivation technique. Most of it? Zhou Fu was a little surprised. Bai Lang explained, Brother Zhou, don't think that I'm cruel. It's just that I still have an enemy. I want to use the remaining secret manual to buy his life. Enemy? Are you talking about Zhang Yao? It's that evil person. I want to kill him. I want his head. Bai Lang gritted his teeth and said. Zhou Fu nodded, that's easy. Give me the cultivation technique. This sudden sentence made Bai Lang, who was immersed in hatred, dumbfounded. What did he mean? Why did he want to give it? Zhou Fu smiled. The Zhang Yao you're looking for is in my hands. The room was silent for a few seconds. Then, Bai Lang stood up. You're saying, looking at Bai Lang, who was so flustered that he couldn't speak, Zhou Fu said again. That's right. The one who poisoned Miss Jean, the son of the Zhang family in Ning'an City, is now in my hands. Zhou Fu stared at Bai Lang's gradually ferocious face. I can let you kill him for revenge. I can help you force the antidote out of him. As a reward, I want all the cultivation techniques in your hands. Bai Lang lowered his head and didn't speak. He was constantly weighing the pros and cons in his heart. Zhou Fu didn't rush him. He drank his tea and waited. After a long time, Bai Lang said, I separated those cultivation techniques into 3 parts and didn't put them together. One of them is the most valuable. Do you still remember the remnant scroll I gave you back then? Zhou Fu nodded. You're talking about the dragon embracing stance, right? Yes. Bai Lang confirmed, that's it. That remnant scroll originated from the true dragon crouching technique, one of the 4 great divine techniques of the body training hall. After mastering it, you'll be several times stronger than cultivators of the same level. Don't you think it's valuable? Then there are some remnant scrolls. For example, the Spirit Wheel, a remnant of the 4 great divine techniques, the 3 wheels returning to origin transformation technique. Although it's a remnant scroll, after mastering it, it can greatly increase one's perception and even comprehension. Finally, there are some ordinary cultivation techniques of the body training hall, such as the bronze armor technique, the mountain splitting fist, and the like. Zhou Fu's face lit up with joy, but his heart was wild with joy. Spirit Wheel. The 3 wheels returning to origin transformation technique. The last scroll was indeed in Bai Lang's hands. No, I have to get that spirit wheel first. With a plan in mind, Zhou Fu began to plan. He said, there's no rush to get the worst ones. The most valuable ones can wait. Take out the middle grade ones first, and I'll help you ask for the antidote for the poison in Miss Jin's body. Then we'll treat her. Staring at Bai Lang, he continued, I think that in your heart, Miss Jin's life is the most important. You'd better send Miss Jean and those cultivation techniques over. Then I'll prepare a doctor and the antidote. After saving Miss Jean, we'll talk about the rest. Bai Lang's face was cloudy and uncertain. He was very conflicted. Finally, he said, Okay. I believe that Brother Zhou won't lie to me, an old acquaintance. At this moment, Bai Lang had no other choice. If he didn't agree, Zhou Fu wouldn't let him go. Of course not. Zhou Fu called the guards outside. Then Bai Lang said two names. One was the resting place of Miss Jean, and the other was the place where the secret scrolls were stored. Chapter 185. This token can prove my identity. Bai Lang took out a token and threw it to the guard. Zhou Fu instructed again, At this time, we can only leave the city by water. Find a comfortable boat and bring 2 maids. Bring a doctor too. Go and come back quickly. Yes. According to Bai Lang, the place was not far from Ning'an City. It was in a small village outside the south gate. A round trip by boat would take less than 2 hours. After the guard left, Zhou Fu suddenly remembered that he had not seen Zhang Yao for 2 months. Could something have happened? His face darkened and his heart skipped a beat. Could Zhang Yao be dead? Men. Another guard walked in. Sir, what are your orders? That. Go to the dungeon and interrogate Zhang Yao. Ask him to tell you the antidote for poisoning Miss Jean. Remember, as long as Zhang Yao is still alive, you can do whatever you want. Yes, I will definitely make Zhang Yao tell you. After the guard left, Bai Lang asked, Brother Zhou, can I go and see Zhang Yao? Zhou Fu thought for a moment. Although Zhang Yao had been crippled by him and had passed on all his skills to Chen Wenyao, he could not guarantee that Zhang Yao was now a piece of meat on the chopping board that could be slaughtered at any time. He was harmless to humans and animals. Brother Bai, it's not that I want to refuse. After Zhang Yao left Ning'an City, he had a fortuitous encounter. Although his strength increased, he became neither human nor ghost. Bai Lang was a little puzzled by Zhou Fu's description. What did he mean by neither human nor ghost? Then, Zhou Fu explained it to him. Bai Lang was dumbfounded. I still want to see him, Bai Lang said stubbornly. All right, since you've said so, then come with me. Seeing Bai Lang's determined attitude, Zhou Fu did not say anything else. After all, Bai Lang had given him the cultivation method and the location of Miss Jean without hesitation. Bai Lang was already so frank. If Zhou Fu continued to shirk the responsibility, Bai Lang might bear a grudge against him. Although Zhou Fu didn't care whether Bai Lang hated him or not, he didn't want to turn a friend into an enemy because of this matter. The loss outweighed the gain. The two of them arrived at the dungeon. When the guard saw Zhou Fu coming over, he hurriedly stood up and saluted. This subordinate greets Lord. What about Zhang Yao? The guard's face suddenly showed a trace of horror. He nodded his head forcefully. Alive, but no longer looks like a human. After hearing the guard's description, Zhou Fu raised his eyebrows. He didn't say anything else and walked down the dungeon with Bai Lang. Although it was night, the dungeon was brightly lit, and one could still hear the screams and shouts of questioning. Pa. In the midst of the screams, someone asked sternly, Speak! What is the antidote? Gulp! The sudden sound of someone swallowing their saliva made Zhou Fu turn his head to look back. He saw that Bai Lang's face was a little pale. When he saw Zhou Fu turn his head, he showed a smile that was no better than crying. He said with a trembling voice, I'm fine. Zhou Fu smiled kindly. Who knew that Bai Lang would actually shiver? He turned his head gloomily and continued to walk inside. When he came to the front of the cell and looked through the bars, Zhou Fu was stunned. Bai Lang, who was beside him, sucked in a breath of cold air. What the F***ck is this thing? He saw that on the shelf in the cell, there was a monster with a human face tied to it. However, its limbs and torso had become withered branches. There were also a large number of branches that extended to other places. After pushing the door open and entering, Zhou Fu saw from the corner of his eye that there was a large pile of firewood in the corner of the room. Some of the firewood had branches and leaves on it. Seeing these things, his heart suddenly skipped a beat. This thing couldn't have been cut off from Zhang Yao's body, right? Seeing Zhou Fu come in, the guard who was interrogating stopped and quickly said, "Sir, I am asking for the antidote. This monster hasn't said anything." "Okay, I got it. You can leave first." "Yes." After the guard left, Bai Lang pointed at the shelf and asked, "Brother Zhou, this thing is Zhang Yao?" "It should be." Zhou Fu nodded. "When I first caught him, he was still in human form." Then, Zhou Fu gestured to the cell next door. Bai Lang also looked over. "That is Zhang Yao's wife." No, it should be Zhang Yao's sister, Zhang Qingyan. You should know her." Bai Lang carefully looked at the woman who had a wooden expression like a puppet. There was no life in her eyes. After looking for a while, he nodded and said, "Yes, it's her." After confirming Zhang Qingyan's identity, he looked at the person on the shelf again. Zhang Yao was also looking at Bai Lang. A few minutes later, Zhang Yao smiled and said, "I was wondering who it was. Isn't this young Master Bai? Ha 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 ha. Why, don't you recognize me?" Although they looked similar, Bai Lang didn't dare to confirm that this person was Zhang Yao. However, as Zhang Yao spoke, a familiar voice sounded. Bai Lang's memory instantly became clear. Even the hatred in his heart rushed to his head. "It's you! It's you! Zhang Yao! I'll kill you!" Seeing that Bai Lang was about to rush forward, Zhou Fu grabbed him. "Hey hey hey! Brother Bai, brother Bai!" Seeing Bai Lang struggling in his hand, even his eyes started to turn red. Zhou Fu sighed. He grabbed Bai Lang's hand and released his inner strength. The inner strength was like a torrent. In an instant, Bai Lang's muscles and bones were stretched. His entire body was sore, and he didn't have the strength to struggle anymore. "Brother Bai, don't be agitated. Since I brought you here to see him, I will let you take revenge for the two of you. The most important thing now is to get the antidote, right?" "Okay. Brother Zhou, I'm sorry. I was too impulsive." Zhou Fu pulled Bai Lang to his side. "Antidote? Ha 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 ha!" Zhang Yao suddenly laughed. Even his body started to drip some thick black liquid. "Chen Wenyao is doing very well now." As soon as these words came out, Zhang Yao stopped laughing. He stared at Zhou Fu. Zhou Fu smiled and said, "That child's mind is very clear." He ran out of the city in the middle of the night. He didn't dare to walk on the main roads and only used the small paths in the forest. "He made my subordinates suffer a lot." Zhang Yao growled, "You? What are you trying to say?" "Nothing much. I just want to praise that child Chen Wenyao. He's really good. He knows how to work hard. Every day, he uses the wild beasts in the forest to train his strength. It's been 2 months. No matter if it's windy or rainy, he hasn't slacked off for a single day. His strength has increased very quickly. Now, he's already at the first level of the bone forging stage. I estimate that in a few months, he'll be able to step into the second level of the bone forging stage. Are you very happy and gratified? You bastard! What are you trying to do?" Zhang Yao constantly roared. "You said that you would let my Zhang family live. That child wouldn't come back for revenge. What else are you trying to do?" Zhou Fu nodded. "That's right. I said that before, and it won't change." He stared into Zhang Yao's eyes. "The antidote. The Jin family's second miss has been poisoned for so many years. The poison has already fused with her body. There's no way to remove it. Even if you have the antidote, it won't work." Hearing Zhang Yao's words, Bai Lang began to cry. Actually, in Bai Lang's heart, he had already agreed with Zhang Yao's words. It was impossible to remove. Zhou Fu sneered. "Even if it can't be removed, she can still live like a normal person, get married, and have children." As soon as he finished speaking, the crying in the cell instantly disappeared. Zhang Yao, don't be ungrateful. Tell me the antidote. A series of prescriptions came out of Zhang Yao's mouth. Bai Lang hurriedly memorized them. After Zhang Yao finished speaking, Bai Lang and Zhang Yao went through it twice before memorizing it. At least you know what's good for you. Zhou Fu pulled Bai Lang and was about to leave. Zhou. Mr. Zhou, Zhang Yao said. At the door of the cell, Zhou Fu stopped and turned to ask, Is there anything else? How do you plan to deal with him? Zhou Fu thought for a moment and said, He won't be able to have power anymore. I'll destroy his cultivation and send him to a remote village to be a normal person. Don't worry, with his looks, he won't have to worry about not being able to find a wife. Your Zhang family's bloodline won't end. That's good, that's good. Zhang Yao nodded and didn't say anything else. When the two of them came up from the dungeon, Zhou Fu ordered the servants to prepare the antidote. After that, Zhou Fu told Bai Lang to wash up first, fearing that Zhang Yao was poisoned. After that, the two of them ate some food. After they finished eating, a carriage drove into the mansion. Sir, the Jean family's second miss and those things have been brought over. Two maids supported a pale-faced woman as they walked in. The woman had a panicked expression on her face until she saw Bai Lang. She hurriedly asked, Are you okay? Bai Lang walked over in 2 steps and took the woman from the maid's hands. Then, he helped her sit down. I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm fine. Zhou Fu smiled. Brother Bai, let the doctor take a look at the Jean family's second miss first. Okay. An old man with white hair and beard walked over and began to check the Jean family's second miss condition. Bai Lang comforted her. Yuanxi, this is Zhou Fu, young Master Zhou, that I mentioned to you before. We're good friends. Now that he's found the antidote, you'll get better in the future. Antidote? Jean Yuanxi's eyes widened. You found that person? Bai Lang nodded heavily. I found him. Before Jean Yuanxi could speak again, a violent voice sounded at the door. Where is he? Where is that thief? I'm going to kill him. The loud sound made the ordinary people in the room dizzy. Humph! How dare you? Zhou Fu snorted coldly and pointed at the old man standing at the door with a gust of wind. Tell me, where is that thief? The old man ignored Zhou Fu's gust of wind and let the attack fall on his body. He was very confident in his body and didn't think that this kind of attack could hurt him. Indeed, as he thought, this attack didn't break his defense, but it did make him take a step back. What a strong force! Zhou Fu looked at the old man and said, This is not a place for you to behave atrociously. If you want to die, I can help you. Hearing this, the old man laughed angrily. Little kid, how arrogant! Don't hit him! Don't hit him! Bai Lang recovered from his dizziness and hurriedly shouted. He said to Zhou Fu, Brother Zhou, this is my wife's grandfather, the elder of the Body Refining Hall, Jin Shahai. Chapter 186. Jin Shahai? Zhou Fu's eyes flickered, but he didn't say anything. Bai Lang walked to the door. Father-in-law, this is my good friend. It was all thanks to him that we found the antidote. As he spoke, he pulled Jin Shahai to the side and sat down. Seeing that Jin Shahai still wanted to say something, Jin Yuanxi called out to him in a weak voice, Dad. Jin Shahai didn't say anything and the room quieted down. After a while, the doctor finished examining Jin Yuanxi's body and said, Sir, I've seen the prescription, and it's indeed right for the illness. However, the specific effects will depend on how second Miss Jean feels after taking the medicine. Hearing the doctor's words, Bai Lang and Jin Shahai were overjoyed. However, the doctor's tone changed, and the joy in their hearts disappeared instantly. However, this prescription uses a drainage method. If the poisoning time is short, then it's fine. However, second Miss Jean has been poisoned for too long, and her body is very weak. If we use the drainage method, I'm afraid it will harm her foundation. Crack! Jin Shahai crushed the armrest of the chair and shouted angrily, After so many years of searching, we can't use the antidote. Why is my son's life so miserable? At this time, a guard came in with a small box. Sir, this is what we brought. After speaking, he put the box beside Zhou Fu. Zhou Fu broke the lock on the box and opened the lid. There were 5 secret manuals inside. Spirit Wheel, Adamantine Battle Body Blood Fiend's Spear Art Triple Fold Force Gold Cracking Fingers. He looked up at the doctor and asked, Is there a solution? Yes. The old man nodded. You do? Jin Shahai suddenly spoke. He dragged out his voice. The old man said matter-of-factly, Of course there is. Then why didn't you say so earlier? There is a solution, but you might not be able to afford it. What do you mean? The old man no longer paid any attention to Jin Shahai. Instead, he turned to Zhou Fu and said, Sir, I have an idea. You need to use a divine item that can replenish your qi and blood. Then, you can bleed second Miss Jin's vital points and use an elixir to stabilize her spleen, liver, and kidneys. After doing this 3 to 5 times, most of the poison in her body will be expelled. After that, we just have to slowly recuperate. When we have recovered some of our vitality, we will use the antidote and use the same method. Twice a year, for about 5 years, they are basically no different from ordinary people. After saying that, the old man looked at Jin Shahai and asked, Do you have any divine items that can create qi and blood? Do you have any pills that can stabilize one's internal organs? If I tell you now, can you take it out? You. Jin Shahai trembled in anger at the elder's words, but he couldn't find a reason to refute them. Indeed, as the old man had said, they had no money on them. I have 10,000 taels. Bai Lang took out the banknotes that Zhou Fu had given him. The old man shook his head. Pills that can stabilize internal organs cost 10,000 taels each. You need 3 pills each time, so 5 times will cost 150,000 taels. Divine items that can create qi and blood are even more difficult to find. You can't buy them with your money. Bai Lang was dumbfounded. Suddenly, he thought of something and turned to Zhou Fu. He hurriedly said, Brother Zhou, I am willing to use the true dragon crouching art in exchange for my wife. Before Bai Lang could finish, Zhou Fu waved his hand and interrupted him. He turned to look at the old man and ordered, Go and prepare. You can look for Bai Lang when you want to make a move. Yes. The old man turned and left the room. Zhou Fu looked at the excited Bai Lang and said, Brother Bai, I have said before that these things will be the reward for curing your wife. There is no need to say anything else. Oh right, you can stay in my residence for the time being. It will be more convenient for the treatment. Brother Zhou, I can't thank you enough for your kindness. Bai Lang was so excited that his face was flushed. His eyes were glistening with tears. If you need my help in the future, as long as you ask, I will do my best. Brother Bai is too polite. All right, I will get someone to prepare the guest room. Zhou Fu turned to look at Jin Shahai and asked, Old man, are you staying here or do you have other plans? Hearing the term old man, a trace of anger flashed across Jin Shahai's face. He looked at his daughter and suppressed his anger for the time being. He said in a deep voice, Then I will have to trouble you to prepare a room for me too. He looked at the spirit wheel in Zhou Fu's hand and said, I heard that you've also practiced the cultivation method of my body refining hall. If there's anything you don't understand, feel free to ask me. I'll tell you everything I know. Zhou Fu smiled, stood up and said, All right, it's late. Everyone should go to bed early. After that, he took the secret book and left. This bastard! Jin Shahai cursed in a low voice. After returning to his own courtyard, Zhou Fu placed the secret manual on the table. He recalled Jin Shahai's words and actions in his mind and sighed. Is the body refining hall's technique's side effects so big? Didn't they say that it would be fine after reaching a certain level of cultivation? Does Zhao Wanshan not know, or is he blindly fooling me? That old man is clearly injured, but he is still so angry. His eyes are red and his face is a little red. Tsk, it is not easy to live to such an old age. After sighing, he picked up the spirit wheel and slowly flipped through it. Under the light, the secret manual was flipped page by page. Although it was very thin, Zhou Fu read it very carefully and memorized the contents bit by bit. When he flipped through the last page, a system notification sounded in his mind. Level up spirit wheel. Ding. Spirit wheel level up successful. As the notification sounded, a warm current flowed out from the Yangming wheel generated by the essence wheel. It flowed through the sea of qi wheel below his abdomen and passed through his perineum. Soreness and cramps rushed to the top of his head. Zhou Fu's scalp began to feel numb. The warm current rose and rushed along the due meridian to Baihui. Then, it came to the space between his eyebrows. The flesh between Zhou Fu's eyebrows vibrated continuously, as if something was going to drill out. The itchy and numb feeling spread along his eyebrows, causing Zhou Fu's cheeks to feel numb. The warm current continued to gather and slowly reached a critical point. Bang! The space between his eyebrows shook and a chill spread out. At this moment, Zhou Fu felt that his tightly shut eyes suddenly lit up. Slowly, he felt extremely relaxed and had the urge to float up. Zhou Fu's face also slowly revealed a smile. However, before he could smile, that feeling disappeared. That's it? Zhou Fu opened his eyes with a displeased look. Ding. Detected that the spirit wheel, essence wheel, and essence wheel come from the same source. Would you like to combine them? Zhou Fu felt that there was a connection between the three wheels in his body. As the spirit wheel that he had just cultivated was too low level, the connection was a little unstable. Finally, they are all gathered. Combine. Ding. Fusion successful. New technique detected. Please name the new technique. Zhou Fu was stunned. He actually had to name it. He did not think much and directly said the original name. Following the disappearance of the three cultivation techniques in the attribute pane, a cultivation technique named the Three Wheels Returning Origin Transformation Divine Art appeared. Chapter 187. Three Wheels Origin Transformation Technique. Level 3 Special Effect. Strengthens the 6 organs, nurtures vitality. There are no enhancements, only special effects? In the morning, Zhou Fu swallowed a bun and observed the new technique that he had just integrated last night. This is the first time I've seen it. It should be very strong, but I need to explore it slowly. When he woke up this morning, Zhou Fu felt refreshed. His body also gave him a feeling of vitality. It was like the spring breeze brushing the willows, and birds chirping and flowers blooming. It made him feel refreshed. Before the integration of this technique, every time Zhou Fu woke up, although he didn't feel groggy, it still took a while for his body to fully wake up. At this moment, there were 3 techniques on the table in front of Zhou Fu. They were Adamantine Battle Body, Triple Fold Force, and Gold Cracking Finger. He first picked up Adamantine Battle Body and opened the secret manual. However, his mind was still thinking about Three Wheels Origin Transformation Technique. He sighed. It's really amazing. At this moment, a voice sounded behind him. You're really lucky, kid. You got more than half of the Body Refining Hall's signature technique. Zhou Fu jumped up and turned around to see Xing Feng standing behind him. He quickly put down the secret manual and bowed. Greetings, third young master. Xing Feng walked to Zhou Fu's seat and sat down. He picked up a bun and ate it while reading Adamantine Battle Body. As he swallowed, he asked, Where did you get this? This subordinate obtained it from Jin Shahai. Jin Shahai. Xing Feng raised his eyebrows. How did you get involved with him? Zhou Fu said truthfully, I caught Zhang Yao some time ago. Later, I found out that Zhang Yao had a deep grudge with Bai Lang. To be honest, Bai Lang and I are old friends, so I found him and wanted him to take revenge with his own hand. Later on, Jin Shahai was lured out. As a reward for catching Zhang Yao, he gave me these techniques. He couldn't hide anything from someone like Xing Feng, but he couldn't tell him everything either. Xing Feng nodded and finished eating the bun in his hand. He casually tossed aside the Vajra battle body that he hadn't finished reading and said, "This thing is really good. It has some use in the blood transformation realm." He looked up at Zhou Fu and said, "But once you reach the extraordinary level, this thing will be completely useless, unless the Titan war body is still worth watching. There are also these things." Xing Feng pointed at the other 2 books on the table. "Just take a look, don't get too engrossed in them. If your cultivation is delayed because of this." Hee. Xing Feng chuckled mysteriously. "I don't dare," Zhou Fu said in a low voice. "Regarding cultivation, I have never slacked off. Now I have already reached the 2nd stage of bone forging. I estimate that in another 3 or 4 months, I will be able to make another breakthrough. Of course, if I can get some more blood yang pills, I will definitely be able to break through within 2 months with just 30 pills." Since Xing Feng was here, Zhou Fu naturally couldn't let go of this good opportunity. He directly stretched out his hand and asked for the things. As the saying goes, the crying child gets the milk. Anyway, it was just opening his mouth, so he wouldn't lose anything. "Ha ha ha ha." Xing Feng laughed and pointed at Zhou Fu. 30 blood yang pills. You are really... Seeing Xing Feng like this, Zhou Fu also knew that there was no hope for the blood yang pills, so he also grinned and laughed along. Unexpectedly, Xing Feng changed the topic and said, "It's not impossible." Zhou Fu looked at him in shock. If he remembered correctly, as the 2nd young master of the Xing family, Xing Gang only had a quota of 10 pills every month. The number that Zhou Fu asked for just now was Xing Gang's quota for 3 months. Xing Feng looked at Zhou Fu seriously. "I can take out 30 blood yang pills." Then, a piece of paper appeared in his hand. It was so fast that Zhou Fu didn't even notice how it appeared. "This is the pill formula for the blood fusion pill that you wanted. I brought it with me." Seeing that Zhou Fu was a little stunned, Xing Feng said, "As long as I have what you want and can take it out, I can give it to you. But, are you worthy of it?" In Zhou Fu's eyes, if Xing Feng was really as good as he said, then he was very powerful. To put it bluntly, he had the potential to become a real big shot. As for Zhou Fu, he was a little excited and also a little annoyed. According to his plan, he just wanted to try his luck at the lottery. Who knew that it would turn out like this? Meeting Xing Feng's gaze, Zhou Fu said directly, "How can I prove that I'm worthy of these things?" "Good. You have guts." Xing Feng was a little excited. "If you had apologized to me just now, I would have ignored the blood yang pill and given you the formula for the blood fusion pill. Since you've said this, I'll be frank with you. Strength. Strength determines everything. As long as you're strong enough, you can get more than what you see in front of you." At this point, Zhou Fu also went straight to the point. "Third young master, what do you want to see?" Xing Feng stretched out his hand, clenched his fist, and pointed his thumb at himself. "You hit me. Third young master, be careful." Hearing Zhou Fu's warning, Xing Feng laughed disdainfully. "You're not qualified to tell me to be careful. Come on." Boom! In an instant, a large amount of black fog rushed out from the darkness and shrouded the pavilion. At the same time, Zhou Fu's figure disappeared. Xing Feng was not surprised. He didn't even get up from his chair. Roar! The roar of a giant beast rang out, shaking the entire pavilion. Demonic whale killing fist. It's only been 2 months since the last time. I didn't expect you to improve so much. Interesting. Let me see how far you've reached. The black fog not far away rolled violently. A blood-red beast soared into the sky. The biting cold killing intent was like a sharp sword piercing towards Xing Feng. "Good killing intent," Xing Feng praised. At the same time, there was a puff in front of him. The air rolled, causing his robe to shake. The killing intent sword disappeared instantly. He looked at the blood-red beast that soared into the sky. His eyes shone. His body turned illusory and in the next moment, He was standing in front of the pavilion. Roar. There was another loud roar. Xing Feng's eyes were instantly filled with blood red. Good. He stretched out his hand and blocked in front of him. A layer of platinum light bloomed on his hand. Boom! The giant beast crashed down. There was a violent explosion, and the surrounding air surged violently. Good strength. Xing Feng opened his eyes excitedly. After the attack, the black fog retreated and the blood-red light dissipated. Zhou Fu's figure appeared 10 steps away. At this time, the clothes on his upper body were all torn. Even his skin had dozens of wounds of different length. It was as if he had been cut open by a sharp weapon. Xing Feng looked at Zhou Fu and smiled. He explained the origin of those wounds. I didn't hold back when I saw such an attack. I'm practicing metal attribute techniques. If I can't defend, I'll attack. You have to be careful too. Chapter 188. Zhou Fu took a deep breath. The blood and qi in his body circulated, and the wounds on his body healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. After a minute or two, the wounds on Zhou Fu's body had all healed, leaving only a few shallow marks. Xing Feng looked at Zhou Fu with interest. Not bad, you can actually heal your wounds so quickly. You must have practiced the spring breeze nurturing body nourishing technique that I gave you. However, the wounds that I caused, even if they were made casually, are not that easy to heal. As soon as his voice fell, Zhou Fu's face suddenly changed. Traces of pain came from the wounds that had already healed, as if a sharp weapon was cutting his body. He carefully sensed that in those wounds there was a small amount of platinum inner strength left. This inner strength was like a sharp blade, cutting everything around it. Is this the power of extraordinary? Zhou Fu muttered. Currently, the highest cultivation that Zhou Fu had come into contact with was the blood-changing realm. That realm gave him the feeling that the power was more condensed and the strength was more penetrating. The power was several times stronger than the bone-forging realm, but after one strike, the power began to slowly dissipate. However, the power that Xing Feng used was different. Just a trace of inner strength had such a strong vitality, as if it had a life of its own. It was extremely strange. Just as Zhou Fu was about to mobilize his inner strength to wash away the inner strength, his glabella, pylorus, and sea of qi slightly moved. The 3 wheels engraved with strange runes sped up and brought a suction force, pulling the platinum inner strength towards the Yangming wheel at the pylorus. What's going on? Zhou Fu suppressed the inner strength that he had just mobilized and observed with rapt attention. In less than a second, the platinum inner strength was sucked into the Yangming wheel. A faint fiery red light lit up the Yangming wheel's mark. As the giant wheel spun, the platinum inner strength began to struggle, trying to tear apart the suction force. However, it was useless. As the giant wheel spun, the platinum inner strength was crushed little by little and then flowed into the giant wheel. Immediately after, a large amount of strange energy flowed out from the Yangming wheel and flowed down into the Sea of Qi wheel. The Sea of Qi wheel spun and spat out more energy from the Du Meridian into the glabella chakra. The 3 wheels rotated at the same time, emitting a power that made Zhou Fu feel very comfortable, nourishing his body. Is this the special effect of the 3 wheels returning divine art? Zhou Fu was extremely shocked. The one who was even more shocked was Xing Feng. He had sensed some of the remaining white gold inner strength near Zhou Fu's wound, but just now, he could no longer feel the inner strength. In other words, Zhou Fu had relied on his second stage bone-forging cultivation to obliterate a trace of his strength in an extremely short amount of time. How could this not shock him? One had to know that the power he had left behind was enough to make an ordinary first blood transformation realm cultivator suffer for a few days. But Zhou Fu had actually broken through it. Good brat! Xing Feng sized up Zhou Fu once again. At this moment, Zhou Fu's heart moved. Was his performance too excessive? No, he couldn't expose too many things. Thus, he instantly thought of a strategy. Boom! Blazing qi and blood soared into the sky. At this moment, Zhou Fu looked like a large fireball. These illusory flames burned for a minute or two before slowly disappearing. Zhou Fu opened his mouth and said, "Third young master's strength is truly terrifying. If it wasn't for this subordinate's naturally vigorous qi and blood, I would have made a fool of myself." After saying this, he looked at Xing Feng and laughed mischievously. It was as he said, the inner strength was shattered by his qi and blood. Xing Feng smiled. This Zhou Fu could also be considered a genius. As a genius, who didn't have their own little secrets. Thus, he didn't think of exposing the other. Moreover, looking at Zhou Fu's condition, he would definitely be an exuvia expert in the future. When the other party broke through to exuvia and his inner strength underwent a change, he would definitely think of today's scene. Even if he knew the truth, he still had to consider the situation. At that time, he would be embarrassed. Xing Feng smiled. Not bad. Now that you have proven your qualifications, take this pill formula. As for the blood yang pill, someone will send it to you in 2 days. This subordinate thanks third young master. Looking at the bowing Zhou Fu, Xing Feng shook his head. In their previous conversation, Zhou Fu rarely referred to himself as subordinate. Now that he saw the benefits, he actually called himself subordinate without any psychological burden. This kind of shamelessness made him a little speechless and a little amused. At this moment, a figure barged into the courtyard. The two turned around and saw that it was Jin Shahai. Just now, Jin Shahai, who was eating in the front yard, suddenly felt a huge energy fluctuation at the back of the yard. Thus, he hurriedly ran over. "Lord, this person is Jin Shahai," Zhou Fu introduced. A platinum light flashed in Xing Feng's eyes. Jin Shahai stood there motionlessly as if his body was frozen. Furthermore, a layer of fine sweat appeared on his forehead. Xing Feng said, "It's not a problem that you like the body refining Hall's technique. However, they left behind quite a lot of mess. You have to pay attention to this point. Also, that demonic whale-killing fist is somewhat unsuitable for you. Since you have talent, I will find another technique that is not inferior to it for you. In the future, you will be able to work for me better." Xing Feng looked at Zhou Fu. "You just have to remember to work for me honestly. Do good things for me and you will get good things. Of course, if you feel that your wings have hardened and you want to fly alone, it's not impossible as long as you can defeat me. Otherwise, yes, this subordinate will definitely work for Lord wholeheartedly." Seeing the benefits, Zhou Fu hurriedly flattered him. Xing Feng smiled. "I have already said what I wanted to say. The rest is up to you. As I said, strength is the most important thing. As long as you are strong enough, you will get more. Oh right, since you have taken so many things from me, I will give you something to do. During the fight for the position of faction leader, you have to admit that you are one of my people. Then, Xingang will most likely come down and beat you up. Take advantage of this opportunity and beat up Xingang. Can you do this well?" Zhou Fu grinned and sighed in his heart. "Since you have already said so, do I have a chance to refuse?" "Yes. This subordinate understands. Cultivate well." Xing Feng's figure suddenly disappeared, as if he had never been there. Seeing Xing Feng leave, Zhou Fu had just breathed a sigh of relief when he heard a strange sound. Kacha! A series of cracking sounds were heard. Zhou Fu's eyes narrowed. He flashed to the side of the table in the pavilion, grabbed the 3 secret manuals on it, and flashed out again. Boom! Following a loud sound, a large amount of smoke and dust rose into the air. The pavilion collapsed. Chapter 189. Looking at the surging dust, Jin Shahai asked in a low voice, "Brat, who was that person just now?" Zhou Fu did not answer, but instead asked, "I say, old man Jin, weren't you at the peak of blood transformation realm back then? Why were you frozen in place with just a look?" Jin Shahai's expression instantly sank. After a moment of silence he said, "You said it was back then. Now, I've only managed to maintain my cultivation at the first level of blood transformation realm. It's already a blessing from the heavens that I didn't drop the blood transformation realm, let alone cultivate back to the first level. Moreover, that young man just now was in existence at the exuvia realm. Exuvia. This is the realm that the 4 protectors, the 2 vice sect masters, and the sect master had only reached back then. As for me, if it wasn't for the problems in the sect back then, I would also be in the exuvia realm now. Unfortunately, the world is unpredictable. Just at this moment, a rumbling sound came from the backyard. Assassins! A loud shout came from the backyard. Zhou Fu's eyes flashed with a golden light, and his figure instantly disappeared. Wait for me. Jin Shahai also came over. In just a dozen seconds, the 2 of them arrived in front of the dungeon. At this moment, at the entrance of the dungeon, there were several black-clothed men wielding blades. They were fiercely fighting with the guards guarding the dungeon. Although there were only 4 guards guarding the dungeon, they relied on the advantageous terrain, making it difficult for the black-clothed men to attack. Blade light and sword shadows, energy surged, and the fight was very lively. When the black-clothed man saw Zhou Fu appear, he growled, 4 of you block them. The rest of you charge in with me. Jin Shahai, who was beside Zhou Fu, was treated as Zhou Fu's personal guard. Hearing this order, Zhou Fu was so angry that he laughed. Block me? A group of 3rd-level bone-forging realm, who couldn't even take down 4 guards of the same realm, actually dared to say that they could block me. Let me see how you're going to block me. A layer of copper color suddenly appeared on Zhou Fu's body. Facing the 4 attacks, he did not dodge and directly charged in. Clang 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 clang. 4 dull sounds of metal rang out, hitting Zhou Fu's body and causing him to stagger, causing him to stop in his tracks. Other than that, no other damage was done. Not good. The information was wrong. Retreat. After the 4 of them attacked together, they were horrified to find that they couldn't even break through Zhou Fu's defense. How could they block it? They were simply throwing their lives away. The black-clothed men who were attacking the dungeon were also stunned when they heard the shout from behind. Out of their trust in their companions, they retreated with their blades in hand. When they turned around to look, they were so scared that their morale immediately dissipated. Zhou Fu rushed into the middle of the 4 people, his fists continuously smashing out. That violent power simply and cruelly smashed the protective inner chi of the 4 people. The wind from his fists rose again, and with a metallic sound, the 4 weapons instantly shattered. Run! The change in the blink of an eye made the people besieging Zhou Fu feel as if they were surrounded. Especially after their weapons were smashed to pieces, their arms that were holding the swords cracked open several wounds. How could they continue fighting? Even if he wanted to die, he shouldn't do it like this. Split up and run. Seeing that the few of them turned around and wanted to distance themselves from him, Zhou Fu didn't immediately chase after them. Instead, he stood in place. Immediately after, a large amount of black demonic fog surged out from the shadows around Zhou Fu. These shadows included the shadows of the black-clothed men. What is this? This was the first time they saw a fog that could form chains and wrap around them. The black-clothed men panicked even more. For a moment, various colors of inner chi erupted from their bodies, shaking off the black fog. However, how could the demonic fog that was born from the demonic whale-killing fist and enhanced by the Wisdom King scripture be so easily shaken off by a few bone-forging realm cultivators? Zhou Fu threw a punch in the direction of the black-clothed men. Roar! The roar of a beast was heard. The demonic fog that covered the ground violently surged. Red light surged within the demonic fog, and a bone-chilling killing intent emerged, causing the surrounding people to feel as if they had fallen into an ice cave. It slowed down the circulation of inner chi and blood in their bodies. Kill! Zhou Fu's voice was like thunder, blooming from his mouth. He threw a punch. Blood filled the air. Bang! 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 The three black-clothed men who were close to Zhou Fu felt as if they had been struck by lightning. First, they trembled violently, then they exploded. For a moment, blood mist drifted everywhere. After the demonic fog and blood sensed the drifting flesh and blood, there was an instant change. One after another, black ribbons wrapped around the remaining people. Each of the ribbons gave off a dizzying feeling. Run. This is a demonic technique. Zhou Fu has cultivated a demonic technique. Run. Zhou Fu looked at the rising black demonic fog and said in surprise, "There's a new change." He remembered that when he fought with Zhang Yao under the moonlight, this demonic fog had some strange effect. Thinking of this, Zhou Fu waved his hand, and his inner qi swept up the scattered weapon fragments around him. Then, he threw a punch. The force of the fist wrapped around the weapon fragments and shot out. Whoosh! 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 The few black-clothed men who were running away were instantly covered in wounds. Their clothes were also tattered by the fragments, and their bodies were bleeding profusely. When the demonic fog came into contact with the blood, it became even more frenzied. The injured black-clothed men suddenly felt their strength rapidly drain away. The world in front of them kept spinning, and a feeling of dizziness rushed into their mind. Thump! After a few consecutive sounds, the injured black-clothed men fell to the ground powerlessly. The surrounding black demonic fog drowned them all in an instant. The remaining two black-clothed men were terrified, not because of anger, but because of fear. Before they came here, they had received the investigation information about Zhou Fu from the higher-up. However, what was written in the information was completely different from the Zhou Fu in front of them. At this time, the black demonic fog had completely enveloped the entire courtyard. The few rays of sunlight that occasionally penetrated through the roof were quickly blocked out. In an instant, the courtyard was like a demonic realm. Seeing that there was no hope of escaping and that they could not beat him, the two black-clothed men fell to their knees with a thud. "Mr. Zhou, we're from the giant whale. Please have mercy." "Yes, yes. Mr. Zhou, we're from the same gang. Please let us live." Zhou Fu smiled. "You're from the giant whale?" "Yes, yes. Yes, yes. We're from the same gang." "Who sent you?" The two black-clothed men suddenly paused and looked at each other. One of them said, "Mr. Zhou, we were sent by Shilong." "Yes, sir. Please keep it a secret for us. Otherwise," Zhou Fu's face darkened. "Shilong? They were a family. Moreover, according to Shilong's feelings towards him, he couldn't wait to drive him away. Why would he send people to make trouble for him? Even if they were sent by Shilong, he wouldn't send people in the bone-forging realm, let alone break into the dungeon in his backyard." "Keep it a secret, my ass," Zhou Fu sneered. In a flash, he appeared in front of the two men and instantly kicked them twice. The two men were kicked upside down and hit the door of the dungeon. "You're still splashing dirty water at this time." The black fog dissipated and the sun reappeared in the sky. Facing the four injured and shocked guards, Zhou Fu ordered, "Check them. If they're still breathing, take them down for interrogation. If their injuries are too serious, find a doctor to treat them. Remember, I want to know who's behind them." "Yes, we understand." Chapter 190. After watching the guards clean up the battlefield, Jin Shahai suddenly attacked Zhou Fu. "Jin Shahai, is there something wrong with your head?" Zhou Fu frowned. It was already too late to turn around and defend. Moreover, when facing someone of Jin Shahai's level who had been famous for a long time, running away with one's back facing the opponent was the worst choice because you didn't know what the opponent could do. After all, they were all old men who had been fighting for dozens of years in a sea of blood and mountains of corpses. If they didn't have any tricks up their sleeves, their corpses would have long been cold. Zhou Fu quickly activated bronze armor body, and a bronze color immediately covered his whole body. Bang! Zhou Fu felt his shoulder suddenly sink, and the soreness broke out, almost making him cry out. Borrowing the force of the opponent's palm, the ground under Zhou Fu's feet cracked. He had indeed diverted part of the force into the ground. What a strong force! Up until now, Jin Shahai was the strongest person he had ever seen. Of course, Xing Feng didn't count. After all, the distance between the two was too big, and there was no meaning in comparing. Even Zhou Fu didn't understand what blood transformation was, let alone the exuvia realm. Zhou Fu turned around and looked at Jin Shahai with a gloomy face, waiting for an answer. Unexpectedly, Jin Shahai didn't say anything and attacked again. Although he couldn't see any killing intent from the opponent's move, this method made Zhou Fu gnash his teeth in anger. Old thing, if you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Since he saw Zhou Fu's move just now, Jin Shahai should know that Zhou Fu already had the strength to fight against someone in the blood transformation realm. Demonic mist surged, and blood-red light penetrated his body. Die! Countless blood-red light spots flew out, and in the next moment, these light spots gathered behind Zhou Fu, and blood light shot out in all directions. A fist was thrown. Bang! The fist and palm collided. Two tyrannical forces exploded. Zhou Fu's body trembled as he was sent flying by the force of the explosion. He somersaulted several times in the air and landed on the ground, leaving behind a trail of footprints. He retreated 5 steps before stabilizing his body. Feeling the pain on his fist, Zhou Fu's eyes flashed with a golden light. Bang! The ground beneath Zhou Fu's feet cracked open again. His figure turned illusory, and he instantly appeared in front of Jin Shahai, smashing his fist down. After Jin Shahai and Zhou Fu's fists collided, Jin Shahai was forced to take 6 or 7 steps back by the explosive force. Just as he was shocked by Zhou Fu's bronze armor war body and his violent strength, Zhou Fu's next punch was right in front of him. Good boy, you just used the bronze armor war body, right? Then I'll show you the advanced cultivation method of the bronze armor war body, Vajra war body. As soon as he finished speaking, golden lines appeared on Jin Shahai's body. Unlike the bronze armor war body, which was covered in a bronze color, the Vajra war body used internal force to form a strange and beautiful pattern. Clang! The two fists collided. A golden sound was heard. The burst of energy once again pushed the two of them to the back. Jin Shahai took a step back, and a strange feeling came over him. He looked out of the corner of his eye and saw that the black demonic fog had already wrapped around his legs. Moreover, within the black fog, there was a faint blood-red light that was spreading out. He had just seen how strange and domineering these things were. Seeing these things enter his body, the golden patterns on his body blossomed with light, shaking off the demonic mist that was suffused with blood-red light. It was at this moment that Jin Shahai lost the opportunity to attack. As the saying went, one wrong step would lead to many wrong steps. Zhou Fu also grasped another truth, that was, one step ahead would lead to many more. After dispersing the force of the recoil, Zhou Fu pounced on him again. His fists were like cannons firing continuously, and fist shadows covered the sky and earth as they smashed down from the sky. In the face of the overwhelming attack, Jin Shahai did not panic. The golden lines on his arms flashed, and he waved a palm shadow in front of him to block. Bang! Bang! A series of explosions occurred. This time, Zhou Fu did not retreat to dispel the force. Instead, he endured the sharp pain and stepped forward, constantly punching with his arms. When Jin Shahai saw Zhou Fu's appearance, he was delighted. Although his arms were sore and the old injuries in his body had emerged, he still used the method of meeting force with force to face Zhou Fu's attack. Ha 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 ha! Awesome! In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged more than 100 punches. Both of them had a ferocious expression on their faces. Jin Shahai laughed. Together with his ferocious face, he looked like a crazy demon. Bang! There was a muffled sound. The bronze color on Zhou Fu's arms shattered. In the next moment, a layer of blood-red light appeared, accompanied by a bone-chilling killing intent. This made Jin Shahai frown slightly. This was not the result he wanted. He suddenly attacked this time because he saw Zhou Fu's bronze armor body. He wanted to test it out, but he did not expect to lose control as he fought. Kill. Following Zhou Fu's furious roar, Jin Shahai vaguely saw a blood-red ferocious beast charging toward him. When the wind from the punch hit him, Jin Shahai suddenly came to his senses and raised his hand to block. Boom! The explosive force wreaked havoc in the surroundings. Looking at Jin Shahai, who kept retreating after being hit by his 10-stage strength, Zhou Fu sighed in his heart. As expected of a veteran expert of the body refining hall. Even with his old injuries, he's still so resistant to beatings. Let me see what a punch with my full strength looks like. With Zhou Fu's mind, the blood-red light spots in the sky danced. With Zhou Fu as the center, they spun at high speed and kept gathering on his hands. In the blink of an eye, the gathering blood-red light spots began to emit a dazzling light. Jin Shahai, who had steadied himself and endured the sharp pain in his arms, saw Zhou Fu's strange behavior. He was alarmed. He wanted to stop the fight that he started, but when he saw Zhou Fu's eyes and the determined fighting spirit, he swallowed his words. Damn it, young people nowadays are so scary. I'm really old. Kill. Zhou Fu's voice was like thunder. He threw a punch. The blood-red light flashed, and the surrounding air was suddenly compressed and then exploded. Boom! In the next moment, Zhou Fu's fist, which was shining with blood-red light, collided with Jin Shahai's palms covered in golden patterns. Crack! With a crisp sound, the golden patterns shone brightly. Then, with a bang, they shattered into specks of golden light. At that moment, Zhou Fu's fist landed. It pressed down on Jin Shahai's palms and smashed into his chest. The force exploded, and Jin Shahai was instantly sent flying. Bang! Jin Shahai crashed into the large, thick-walled vat in the courtyard. He sat down in a wretched state. If he had not blocked 80 to 90% of Zhou Fu's fist force before his Vajra body was broken, Jin Shahai would not be far from death. A mouthful of blood spurted out of Jin Shaku's mouth. Then, he took 2 deep breaths and looked at Zhou Fu, whose clothes were torn and whose arms were covered in blood. He said hoarsely, I was rash. When I saw your bronze armor body just now, I was so excited that I attacked you. Cough, cough. He coughed out another 2 mouthfuls of blood. Zhou Fu glared at him fiercely. Jin Shahai, this is my place. Not your home and not the body refining hall. If there is a next time, I will kill you with my own hands. After saying that, Zhou Fu did not give him a chance to speak. He turned and left the courtyard. As soon as he came out of the backyard and into his own courtyard, he saw Jin Peng running over with his men in a panic. Sir, are you all right? Zhou Fu was still a little angry, so his tone was a little harsh. He said, What can happen to me? You came at the right time. Change the guards I have attached to me. Give some money to these people so they can recover and have a good rest. Yes. Also, my courtyard and backyard are destroyed. Send a message to Huang Feng and ask him to find someone to fix it. At that moment, footsteps came from the courtyard. The people in the courtyard looked up and saw Huang Feng rushing over with his men. Greetings, sir. Zhou Fu looked at Huang Feng curiously and said, You came very quickly. Sir, I was just checking the shops nearby when I heard the commotion, so I brought them here. Sir, are you all right? He looked at the messy scene in the courtyard and was secretly shocked. How intense was the battle to create such a terrifying scene. You came at the right time. Zhou Fu took out the pill formula and handed it to Huang Feng. Huang Feng took it with both hands, glanced at it, and then put it in his arms. Pill formula. He recognized it, but he did not know what kind of pill it was. However, this thing was given to him by Zhou Fu, so it could not be bad. This is the formula for the blood fusion pill. It can help people who have no hope of breaking through to the blood transformation realm to break through. It can also help them cultivate to the peak of the blood transformation realm. Huang Feng shuddered all of a sudden, and his eyes widened abruptly. What is this? A pill formula that could help people break through to the blood transformation realm. He could even get the formula for this kind of divine medicine? He actually gave it to him. At this time, Huang Feng felt his arms become extremely heavy. Huang Feng was not the only one who was shocked. At this moment, the people who came with Huang Feng and Jin Peng were all experts in the third stage of the bone forging realm. When these people heard that the piece of paper was the formula for the blood fusion pill, even their breathing became heavy. Everyone stared at Huang Feng with burning eyes, like wolves looking at a roasted fat sheep that was still dripping with oil. Sir. This, Huang Feng, who was surrounded by wolves, could not even speak clearly. Zhou Fu waved his hand. After you go back, arrange for a powerful alchemist to try. After he finds the method, let him lead the others to start. Yes. This subordinate understands. Alright, you guys do as you see fit. I still have things to do. After giving the order, Zhou Fu turned around and walked towards the training room. When he reached the door, Zhou Fu suddenly remembered that there was still a person in the backyard who was beaten up badly by him. He turned around and said, "Oh right, there is an old man called Jin Shahai in the backyard. He is seriously injured. Find a doctor to take a look at him. Also, forbid him from leaving this place." Yes. Chapter 191. In the practice room, Zhou Fu memorized the adamantine battle body, and then closed his eyes slightly. The Akalanatha Dharma idol in his sea of consciousness opened its eyes. It sat on the blazing fire lotus and moved its fingers quickly, calculating the cultivation method of the adamantine battle body. For a moment, a feeling of enlightenment surged in his mind. This unfamiliar cultivation method slowly became familiar in Zhou Fu's mind. This unique cultivation method was discovered by Zhou Fu when he was cultivating the bronze battle body alone. This cultivation method was complementary to a certain extent with the assistance. Using the assistance to improve martial arts could deepen one's understanding of martial arts and achieve the effect of leveling up with the assistance. However, that method was too crude and required a lot of time to adapt to the skyrocketing power. Later, Zhou Fu discovered that the Akalanatha Dharma idol could deduce martial art. This allowed him to have a very clear understanding of the martial arts he was going to cultivate before he started cultivating. The Akalanatha scripture is really mysterious. Zhou Fu sighed and then continued to immerse himself in the deduction of the adamantine battle body. Time passed little by little and a few hours passed in the blink of an eye. Zhou Fu opened his eyes. At this time, he already knew the adamantine battle body, like the back of his hand. The next step was to level it up. Ding! Adamantine battle body has covered bronze battle body. Ding! Adamantine battle body has leveled up successfully. The unique copper color of bronze battle body instantly covered Zhou Fu's entire body. In his inner vision, his bones were also covered in a copper color. Then, the copper color slowly condensed and turned into golden threads. The golden threads in his body wrapped around the nearby bones, forming strange lines. The same was true for the copper color that covered his entire body. It first condensed and then turned into golden thread. His forehead, chest, back, limbs, hands, and feet all had golden patterns on them. These lines on the surface of his body resonated with the lines in his body, glowing with a golden light. That's it? Zhou Fu was a little confused. Did I just master the adamantine battle body? Compared to the improvement of other cultivation methods before, the adamantine battle body gave Zhou Fu a feeling of spring wind and rain. Of course, rain came in many forms. In the blink of an eye, the gentle breeze and drizzle earlier instantly turned into a raging storm. Zhou Fu's body flashed with golden light, and those fixed patterns began to grow, connecting his palms and arms. His feet and legs were hooked together. The lines on his forehead, chest, and back did not connect, but instead expanded a little. Zhou Fu, on the other hand, was suffering. Waves of searing pain ravaged his nerves. He felt as if countless branding irons were imprinting something on his skin and bones. Thick veins bulged on Zhou Fu's neck and arms. When the pain reached a critical point, a cool feeling spread from his forehead. The three wheels rotated, and a strange power was emitted, alleviating the pain. Next, Zhou Fu's muscles and meridians began to vibrate. Then, his blood began to boil. Ding! Spring breeze and rain body nourishing art leveled up. Current level, level 6. Amidst the intense pain, Zhou Fu was stunned for a moment. He did not take the initiative to upgrade this cultivation technique. Ding! 3 wheels origin transformation divine art. Leveled up. Then, it announced again that the level of this divine technique had reached the 5th level. Gradually, the pain disappeared. Zhou Fu called out the support panel and confirmed that the notification was not an illusion. These 2 cultivation techniques had indeed leveled up. Even his body began to feel a little bloated. What the hell? Zhou Fu was still at a loss. He took off his clothes and rubbed his body with his hand. A slippery feeling came back from his palms. Impurities. Zhou Fu walked toward the bathroom. What is going on? Why would the cultivation techniques level up by themselves? After entering the bathroom, Zhou Fu washed his body while thinking. After thinking for a long time, he found that these 3 cultivation techniques belonged to the Body Refinement Hall and were all part of the 4 great divine arts. Of course, the Vajra Battle Body was considered half of it. I don't know where the Giant Spirit Battle Body is, but the Dragon Subduing Art is in Bai Lang's hands. I'll check it out after I get it. At the Giant Whale's headquarters, Xing Gang looked at the black-clothed man wearing a devil mask and asked in a deep voice, "Mission failed?" "Yes." The devil-masked man's voice was low and his tone was neither haughty nor humble. 10 bone-forging 3rd stage cultivators are gone just like that? Yes. Xing Gang took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. Occasionally, a few sparks would appear between his nose and mouth. A strange laughter came from Xing Gang's mouth. Back then, a small person has become so big now. 10 bone-forging 3rd stage cultivators are gone just like that. The devil-masked man was silent. What did you find? The devil-masked man said, "The backyard is a dungeon. Zhang Yao is most likely inside. Also, the Body Refinement Hall's remaining member, Jin Shai, is in Zhou Fu's house. Also, Bai Lang from the Bai clan is also there. There is also the Jin clan's 2nd miss who was killed." Xing Gang was stunned for a moment. All the people who stirred up trouble in Ning and East City have gathered here. What do you think this Zhou Fu is? Should I just beat him to death? This subordinate doesn't know. Xing Gang stared at the devil-masked man for a while and waved his hand. Forget it. You can leave. Remember to keep a close eye on Zhou Fu. Yes. After watching the devil-masked man leave, Xing Gang muttered to himself, "Forget it. Don't be angry." "I'm not angry. I originally wanted to keep him alive until next year when I finished my task. I didn't expect this kid to grow so fast. There must be a demon behind this. Don't tell me it's old Third's doing." Xing Gang pondered for a while. Finally, a red light flashed in his eyes. "How about this? If this kid obediently stays in Ning and East City, I'll tolerate him. If he dares to step out of Ning and East City, a low laughter echoed in the room. After washing up, Zhou Fu walked out of the practice room. He was surprised to find that it was already the morning of the next day. "I've been cultivating for so long?" The feeling of hunger woke up Zhou Fu, who was still in a daze. He went to the kitchen. At this time, the fire hadn't been lit yet. The servant in the courtyard heard the commotion and rushed over. When he saw that it was Zhou Fu, he quickly bowed and said, "This subordinate greets Lord. Is there anything to eat now?" Yes. The servant turned and entered the kitchen. He walked to a wooden box and opened it. Cold air immediately came out. The servant took out a few plates from the box. There were slices of meat on them. Lord, Big Sister Ewer has already instructed that there must be food in the kitchen at all times. This is the beef that was just braised yesterday. It's in the box. This subordinate will heat it up for you. Zhou Fu took the plate. No need. Are these all in the boxes? Yes. All of them. A total of 20 jin. Okay, you can leave. Yes, this subordinate will take his leave. Zhou Fu looked at the meat on the plate and smiled. You're very considerate. He took a pair of chopsticks and stood to eat. Young master? Why are you here? When Zhou Fu finished cleaning the 3 plates, Yuju's voice came from the door. Oh, I just finished cultivating. I'm a little hungry, so I came to find something to eat, Zhou Fu said with a smile. He casually placed the 4th empty plate on the chopping board. Okay, I'm full. I'm going out for a walk. It's still early. You can rest for a while. Yuju opened her mouth and looked at Zhou Fu, who walked past her to the backyard. She replied softly, yes. Arriving at the backyard, Zhou Fu shook his head as he looked at the clean courtyard. Then, he walked out of the back door. There were no buildings behind the house. A few dozen meters away was the river. Zhou Fu walked slowly along the river. At this time, the sky was already bright. A faint mist rose from the river. The sun shone and the mist slowly dissipated. Looking along the river into the distance, his mind instantly opened up. Suddenly, he felt that the sky was high and clear, which made Zhou Fu's spirit rise. Inhale huff after inhaling and exhaling, his interest was piqued. Zhou Fu stood in place and started practicing. His body moved widely. The fist strength condensed and did not dissipate. The strength was penetrating but not obvious. Just as Zhou Fu was about to come to an end, a person came nearby. This person watched the second half of Zhou Fu's fist technique. After Zhou Fu finished, he said, Nowadays, there aren't many young people like you who come to the river to train their body at this time. By the way, what fist technique did you just practice? Nothing special. I saw the guards at home practicing, so I followed and learned, Zhou Fu said calmly. In the face of this kind of person who asked about the origin of martial arts, just ignore him. Of course, what Zhou Fu just practiced was the routine in the demon whale killing fist. Demons were particular about strange and changeable. Kill was the true meaning of this technique. On Zhou Fu's body, the word demon was reflected in the strangeness of the demonic mist. As for the fist technique, he had always been a tough one. The strange and changeable routine was also used by him as a posture to practice the strength of his fist. And the true meaning of the word kill in this technique was used incisively and vividly by Zhou Fu. Hearing Zhou Fu's words, the person nodded. It's really nothing special. It's okay to use it to strengthen the body. Zhou Fu rolled his eyes when he heard the arrogance in Lin Fan's tone. Seeing that Zhou Fu had finished practicing, the person came closer. My name is Ding Chuan. My family runs a martial arts club. Seeing the strange smile on Zhou Fu's face, Ding Chuan quickly said, I'm not trying to attract business for my family. I'm saying that if you really want to learn real martial arts, my family is your best choice. Looking at Ding Chuan, who kept defending himself but was actually promoting his family's business, Zhou Fu felt that it was very interesting. Really? Your family is the best choice? What's the realm of the teacher who taught you? Could it be Exuvia? Ding Chuan's face suddenly turned ugly. He looked very embarrassed and stammered, cultivation doesn't mean anything. Even if those people have high cultivation, they are still not as good as my family. Looking at Zhou Fu's faint smile, Ding Chuan gritted his teeth. Look carefully. Chapter 192. Looking at Ding Chuan's flushed face, Zhou Fu chuckled and crossed his arms, looking like he was enjoying a good show. From the first time he saw Ding Chuan, Zhou Fu could feel that Ding Chuan was an ordinary person who did not practice any inner strength technique. However, such an ordinary person made him a person who could beat up a first blood-changing realm cultivator at the second level of the bone-forging realm. Take a closer look. It was quite interesting. Step forward, Ding Chuan shouted in a low voice. His chest slightly contracted, his back arched, and he suddenly took half a step forward and stomped down. Bang! There was no shocking scene, and the ground did not crack. However, the casual smile on Zhou Fu's face had disappeared. His eyes slowly widened, and he looked a little stunned. Because just now, the somewhat hooligan-like Ding Chuan actually exuded an indescribable aura. Ding Chuan followed with his back foot. After putting his feet together, he bent his knees slightly and swung his arms to both sides. Duan Chen. Present a gift. His hands drew an arc on both sides of his body, raised above his head, and bent his elbows. His palms passed under his ears and moved forward. He clasped his fists in front of his chest and pushed forward. The ceremony was complete. Ha! Ding Chuan shouted loudly. He withdrew his fist, twisted his waist, and stepped forward with a punch. It was this punch that made Zhou Fu extremely surprised. Damn! Am I not awake yet? This person who is not even at the inner strength realm can actually throw out such a punch. Moreover, this guy's essence, chi, and spirit are not right. Compared to before, they are completely different people. This must be fake. Ding Chuan pulled open his fist stance, opening and closing wide. It was like a spear thrust, like a hammer strike, and even a saber move could be felt. No matter what, whether it was a spear or a saber, it should not have appeared in the hands of someone at Ding Chuan's level of cultivation. Ding Chuan's boxing routine was very simple. There were only a dozen moves, and he finished it in less than a minute. After he withdrew his fist, a thin layer of sweat appeared on his forehead. Ding Chuan wiped the sweat from his forehead and looked at Zhou Fu. At this moment, he could see from Zhou Fu's expression that he was shocked. Being shocked meant that he was tempted. As long as he was tempted, everything would be easy. He laughed foolishly and said, "How about it? Isn't my fist technique very powerful?" Zhou Fu pondered for a moment. A fist technique that could make an ordinary person produce such momentum was indeed powerful. Of course, the person who taught the Ding Chuan fist technique was even more powerful. This piqued Zhou Fu's interest. If he could obtain this method, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. He nodded. It does look interesting. Hearing Zhou Fu's words, Ding Chuan pretended to be dissatisfied. If you say that, then it's meaningless. Tell me frankly, do you want to learn? Zhou Fu looked at Ding Chuan and shook his head. I want to learn, but if I want to learn from you, then forget it. Ding Chuan opened his mouth and held it in for a while before saying, "Of course it's not me. There will be someone else who will teach you. So, do you want to learn?" "Yes. But I want to see the master first." "No problem." Seeing that Zhou Fu had agreed to learn the fist technique, Ding Chuan quickly said, "Why don't you come with me now? Let me tell you, there are a lot of people who want to learn now. If we're late, there might not be a place left." As he spoke, he led Zhou Fu forward. "By the way, do you want to tell your family about this?" Judging from his clothes, Zhou Fu must have come from a rich family. This kind of person was rich, but also a little troublesome. Of course, as long as it didn't affect the safety of these people and made them happy, then wouldn't money come pouring in the future? No need, Zhou Fu refused. "Let's go, they'll find me." Okay. The two of them walked for about half an hour and arrived at a courtyard with a somewhat dilapidated gate. On top of the door, there was a plaque that had been exposed to the elements and was slightly faded in color. The words Zhenshan Boxing Dojo were written on it. This is the place. Ding Chuan rushed up the stairs. He also knew that his courtyard looked a little dilapidated, but he had no choice. He didn't have any money. Because of this, he had to open the gate first. This way, even if the people who came with him were unwilling, they would still go in and take a look. This was his experience after countless attempts. As the saying goes, since we're already here, right? After entering the gate, there was a spacious and flat courtyard. On the east side of the courtyard, There was a row of wooden shelves that were tied with thick hemp rope. There were also 3 men and a woman practicing fist techniques there. On the west side of the courtyard, there was a pile of big stone balls. 2 people were holding them up. Facing the gate, there was a row of houses. The eaves of the houses protruded forward, casting a cool shade. An old man with gray hair and rosy cheeks was sitting in a chair and drinking tea. When they heard the gate open, everyone in the courtyard turned to look. When the young people who were practicing saw Ding Chuan and Zhou Fu behind him, their expressions were indescribably strange. "What are you looking at? Hurry up and practice." The old man's loud and clear voice rang out. The young people hurriedly turned their heads and continued with their practice. Ding Chuan smiled at Zhou Fu and said, "You? All right, what's your name again?" "Zhou Fu." That's a good name. It sounds like you're blessed." After giving a perfunctory compliment, Ding Chuan brought Zhou Fu to the old man. "Dad, look, I brought back a student for you." This strange way of addressing surprised Zhou Fu. He looked back and forth between the old man and Ding Chuan. First of all, the old man looked to be at least 70 years old, while Ding Chuan looked to be in his early 20s. He was only 4 or 5 years older than Zhou Fu. With such an age difference, did the old man give birth to Ding Chuan when he was in his 50s? Did he take such good care of himself? The old man stared at Ding Chuan with disappointment. He wanted to say something, but it seemed that Zhou Fu was beside him, so it was inconvenient for him to speak. The old man looked at Zhou Fu and said, "You want to learn boxing?" Zhou Fu nodded. "My name is Zhou Fu. Today, I saw Brother Ding practicing boxing by the river. I was shocked. He's much better than the guards in my house, so I accepted Brother Ding's invitation and came here to have a look." When the old man heard Zhou Fu say that he saw Ding Chuan practicing boxing, he turned his head and glared at Ding Chuan. When he heard Zhou Fu say that there were guards in his house, he fell silent. When Zhou Fu finished speaking, the old man said, "My surname is Ding and my name is Ho. I'm the owner of this Jinshan Boxing Club. You just said that you came here to have a look?" "Yes." Zhou Fu nodded and said, "Although I want to learn Brother Ding's boxing, I can't learn it without looking at anything. You're quite cautious. Do you have cultivation?" "Of course, I'm at the late stage of strength refining." Zhou Fu's physical quality was too strong. He couldn't even pretend to be a rookie at the early stage of strength refining. Ding Ho's eyes flashed and he said, "I'm only at the bone forging level. You might be disappointed." Hearing this, Ding Chuan, who was at the side, became anxious. This was not the way to do business. His family was about to run out of food. If this fat sheep in front of him, this student was forced to leave, he would really run out of food. Therefore, Ding Chuan hurriedly said, "Brother Zhou, don't listen to this old man's nonsense. Even an ordinary second-level bone forging can't hurt my father. You should know that my father doesn't practice any martial arts. He only relies on his fist." Zhou Fu was surprised. Was this for real? He could fight a second-level bone forging with just his fists? And he didn't practice any martial arts to condense inner strength? Seeing that Zhou Fu was silent, Ding Chuan continued, "Brother Zhou, for 100 taels, you can learn the Jinshan Boxing Club. Moreover, you have a martial art. When the time comes, don't talk about bone forging, even blood transfusion will be." "Shut up!" Ding Ho scolded in a low voice. He glared at Ding Chuan, forcing him to swallow the rest of his words. This kid's words were getting more and more out of hand. "It's fine if you talk about the bone forging level. This old man can still take it. Blood transfusion level? Is that something he can take?" Seeing that the old man didn't refute, Zhou Fu's heart trembled. He directly took out 100 taels banknote. These banknotes were specially placed inside by Yu Zhu. Seeing the father and son of the Ding family turn to look at him, Zhou Fu said, "If Master Ding can demonstrate the Jinshan Boxing Club to me, this 100 taels will be Master Ding's reward." Seeing the generous Zhou Fu, Ding Ho hesitated. Was this person who could casually take out 100 taels of banknote someone they could interact with? And could he really teach? Just as Ding Ho was hesitating, Ding Chuan directly took the banknote and put it into his clothes. He cheerfully said to Ding Ho, "Father, I'll have to trouble you. I'll go buy some good meat. Oh right, I'll also need to buy mother's medicine." Ding Chuan's angry expression instantly calmed down. He was very silent and suppressed. "Okay, go early and come back early. It's been a bit chaotic outside recently. All kinds of monsters have come out." "Don't worry, father. I know." Ding Chuan looked at Zhou Fu and smiled. "Brother Zhou, don't worry. You'll definitely be satisfied. Oh right, the tuition fee is 100 taels per month." After saying this, he slipped away under Ding Ho's angry gaze. Zhou Fu, right? Don't listen to his nonsense. 100 taels is half 1 year's tuition fee. Zhou Fu, who now owned half of Ning and East City's business, was living a truly extravagant life. Naturally, he was generous. Zhou Fu smiled. "As long as Master Ding teaches well, I'll pay 200 taels per month." His calm voice instantly silenced the sound of practicing martial arts in the courtyard. Ding Ho's lips trembled. He said in a low voice, "No, it's just 100 taels. Master Ding, you're too polite. I mean, if your fist art really satisfies me, I'll pay. Don't worry, 200 taels per month is nothing to me." From Ding Chuan's words and Ding Ho's reaction, Zhou Fu knew that Ding Ho was in trouble. If Ding Ho could really teach him that kind of fist art, or the concept of martial arts, he would be willing to support Ding Ho forever. With the changes in power, status, and wealth, Zhou Fu was no longer the same as before. He was no longer the person who wanted to bargain for 100 taels. With his current status, if he did that again, he would be losing face. Strictly speaking, he was not broad-minded. Ding Ho stood up and said, "Okay. Then I'll show young Master Zhou my mountain-subduing fist." Chapter 193. The other people in the Mountain Suppression Fist Dojo hurriedly gathered around when they saw Dojo Master Ding Ho display his fist technique. "Ha!" With a clear shout, a heavy aura rose from Ding Ho's body. It was as heavy as a small mountain. Every time he punched out, it gave people a feeling of immense power. After dozens of punches, the sound of a river flowing could be heard from Ding Ho's body. This was a phenomenon that could only happen when the blood and qi in his body reached a certain level. Even in the bone-forging realm, there weren't many people who could possess such a phenomenon. "Strange, this is really strange." A faint golden light appeared in Zhou Fu's eyes. He could clearly see Ding Ho's every move and the flow of blood and qi in his body. However, he still couldn't understand how this force could be cultivated. When the fist technique came to the last move, Ding Ho violently stomped his foot, and the ground within a few meters shook. What was more amazing was that the ground under Ding Ho's feet was undamaged. What exquisite control of strength! Zhou Fu praised Ding Ho in his heart. Although he could also make the ground shake and crack, he couldn't do it as well as Ding Ho, who could shake the ground without damaging it. "Good! That's great!" After seeing Ding Ho withdraw his fist, the students at the dojo excitedly shouted. Unexpectedly, Ding Ho glanced at them and said, "Since you know, why don't you hurry up and practice? Save me some trouble." The students trembled and hurriedly returned to their positions to continue their practice. Ding Ho looked at Zhou Fu and asked, "Young Master Zhou, do you like my fist technique?" "It does. Of course it does." Zhou Fu grinned and said, "Master Ding is too polite. If this doesn't work, how can it work?" He complimented. In his eyes, this mountain suppression fist was too difficult. It could actually allow people to cultivate force. Although force was invisible, it was undeniable that it could increase a person's strength by several folds. Present, Zhou Fu had only comprehended a little bit of the magical whale-killing fist. "As long as Master Ding teaches me, the monthly tuition fee is 200 taels. This wasn't because Zhou Fu was stingy. If he gave too much at once, the other party would become suspicious. After all, the previous 100 taels had already caused Ding Ho to fall silent. There's no hurry. Ding Ho interrupted Zhou Fu and asked, "What's young Master Zhou's cultivation level now? What's the level of training?" There were a total of 12 levels of strength training, and its main purpose was to unblock the meridians in the body. Zhou Fu's eyes flickered. 11th floor. Why do you ask? Will it affect my learning? Ding Ho nodded. Yes. Training strength. Training strength. Training inner strength. But where does inner strength come from? Condensed from qi and blood. Yes. It comes from qi and blood. Ding Ho smiled. My fist technique requires qi and blood. Look at them. Ding Chuan pointed at the students who were training next to him. They are all children from ordinary families, or rather, their families are relatively well off. However, they can't get it, and they can't afford to buy the skills to condense inner strength. This way, they can ensure that they have enough qi and blood to support this fist technique. Young Master Zhou, do you understand what I'm saying? Zhou Fu didn't speak. Instead, he slightly lowered his center of gravity and punched. The qi and blood in his body trembled slightly, emitting a trace of heat. This trace of heat caused Ding Ho's eyes to widen. Seeing Ding Ho's shocked expression, Zhou Fu smiled. I was born with abundant qi and blood, so my family hired a few masters for me. They all said that I'm cut out for martial arts. Ding Ho pondered for a moment, then said, even if young Master Zhou's qi and blood are abundant, the inner strength in your body will constantly consume your qi and blood. Furthermore, the mountain-subduing fist will seal your qi and blood. This way, your cultivation will fall behind. Zhou Fu asked, Master Ding, are you worried that my qi and blood won't be enough to support both fist and martial arts training at the same time? That's fine. I can eat pills to replenish my qi and blood when I'm training. That's fine. This time, Ding Ho was dumbfounded. Yes, pills. How simple. With the support of pills, why would he worry about qi and blood? Of course he wouldn't. However, this was the first time he had seen such an extravagant student. This was also the first time he had heard of such an extravagant method. Since Zhou Fu had already said so, and the tuition fee was so tempting, he naturally had no reason to refuse. Since young Master Zhou sincerely wants to learn my mountain-subduing fist, I have no reason not to teach you. Alright. In the future, young Master Zhou can practice with me. Right, if you want to practice, will your family agree? Zhou Fu said, Don't worry, Master Ding. My family will agree. As he said this, he took out another banknote. This time, it was 500 taels. Take this as my tuition fee for 2 months. I came out this morning for a walk, so I didn't bring much money. Ding Ho took the banknote in a daze. He didn't want to talk right now. What did he mean by didn't bring much money? This was 500 taels. Including the 100 taels he just gave, that was 600 taels. You came out this morning for a walk, and you actually brought 600 taels. Ding Ho quickly adjusted his state of mind and said, Before you start learning, I need to do some tests on you. Please speak, Master Ding. How much strength do you have? Zhou Fu thought for a moment. How many kilograms was a normal training stage cultivator? After thinking for a while, he said, 2,200 kilograms each in my arms. Hiss. Ding Ho was very shocked. He sighed, What talent! Then he thought of Zhou Fu's extravagant appearance, and felt that there was nothing wrong. After all, he was a child of a rich family. He must have eaten good food on a daily basis. With some medicinal pills, 2,200 kilograms each in his arms was nothing special. Qian Yong. Ding Ho turned his head to the east and shouted, Master! A man about 2 meters tall, wearing a short gray shirt and a round waist walked over quickly. Ding Ho introduced, Zhou Fu, since you have entered my mountain-subduing fist club, I will call you by your name. This is your senior brother, Qian Yong. He has been learning from me for 5 years. Since you have just arrived, you should learn how to use your strength from him." After speaking, he looked at Qian Yong. "This is the new junior brother. His name is Zhou Fu. He has a foundation in martial arts, but it is not the style of our mountain-subduing fist. You should teach him how to use his strength first." "I understand, master." Qian Yong looked at Zhou Fu and said, "Junior brother Zhou, come with me." So Zhou Fu followed Qian Yong to a pile of big stone balls. "Junior brother Zhou, master asked me to teach you how to use your strength. We will start lifting the stones now. Look at me. Remember, you must be as immovable as a mountain, as strong as a swimming fish, as flexible as your heart's desire. To put it bluntly, you must stand firmly on your feet and use your strength flexibly. Watch carefully." Qian Yong grabbed a big stone ball. It seemed to weigh a few 100 kilograms, and its diameter was as wide as his shoulder. The big stone ball was held in his arms and floated up and down. Yes, floated. Zhou Fu did not expect Qian Yong, who was like a gorilla, to be able to use such gentle strength. Moreover, his feet seemed to have taken root and were motionless. His upper body moved up and down slightly as he exerted his strength, as if he was floating on water. It actually looked beautiful. "What the hell? I can't believe I can see the beauty." Zhou Fu muttered in his heart. "Junior brother, find a stone that suits you first. It doesn't need to be heavy, as long as it is suitable for you. The main thing is to find the feeling of using your strength. When you have learned how to use your strength, report to master, and I will teach you the fist technique." "Okay, thank you, senior brother." Zhou Fu picked a stone ball that was about the size of his shoulder. He imitated Qian Yong's posture and slowly threw it. Chapter 194. Beside the wall of the Zhenshan martial arts dojo, Zhou Fu frowned as he looked at the stone ball in his hand. The one he chose was about 400 kilograms. Although it wasn't as light as a feather, it wouldn't cause him any pressure. That's strange. Is it because I'm too strong? Is it because I can't feel the pressure that I can't use my strength? Zhou Fu, who was a little confused, even stopped what he was doing. He dropped the stone ball and frowned as he pondered. Qian Yong, who was training at the side, also noticed that Zhou Fu had stopped. He put down the stone ball and looked at Zhou Fu. "Junior brother, are you tired?" Although he didn't see the sweat on Zhou Fu's forehead, and even his breathing didn't change, he still asked. It was because he had just heard the conversation between his master and his junior brother. He knew that Zhou Fu came from a good family and had never suffered. Zhou Fu shook his head. "No, I just can't feel the technique of exerting force." As he spoke, he lifted the stone ball again, tossed it twice, and dropped it again. "Look, I'm basically using my arms to exert force. Is it because the stone ball is too light?" Facing Zhou Fu's question, Qian Yong was silent for a moment and then said, I don't understand either. But according to my experience, you should lift the stone ball more. If 10 times is not enough, then 100 times. If 100 times is not enough, then 1,000 times. Believe me, as long as you do it enough times, you will definitely feel it." Zhou Fu was dumbfounded. "I'd be crazy to do that. 1,000 times? You're slapping me in the face." Just as the two of them fell into silence, Ding Ho walked over. The old man said to Qian Yong, "Practice makes perfect. It's not useful for everyone." "Master. Dojo master." Ding Ho nodded and said to Zhou Fu, "You're the first student I've ever met who has internal strength. I'm not very clear about inner strength, but you were wrong just now." Zhou Fu cupped his hands and said, "Dojo master, please enlighten me." Ding Ho came to the stone ball that Zhou Fu had used before. He kicked it with the tip of his foot, and the stone ball immediately flew up. "Look carefully." Ding Ho stretched out his hand to catch the stone ball and let it float in his arm. At the same time, one could clearly see the direction of his strength. Ding Ho had done this on purpose to let Zhou Fu see clearly. Bang! The stone ball fell to the ground. Ding Ho looked at Zhou Fu and said, lifting the stone ball is not the goal. Even without the stone ball, we can still do this. As soon as he finished speaking, Ding Ho revealed his arm and lightly punched out. The muscles on his arm visibly moved. Furthermore, Zhou Fu could sense the qi and blood flowing in the other party's body. Taking back his fist, Ding Ho looked at Zhou Fu and said, you have to calm down. It's best to forget that you have internal strength when you practice. Although it's difficult, it's the best way. You can practice again. After that, he sat back in his chair. Little junior brother, Master is so good to you. I didn't understand it back then. Master didn't even tell me this, Qian Yong said with some envy. Oh? Then how did you learn how to exert strength? I just said that I had to lift it 1,000 times, but I had to lift it more than 3,000 times before I got the hang of it. Zhou Fu was dumbfounded again. At the same time, he gave this straightforward, big senior brother a thumbs up in his heart. Damn, that's amazing! If you don't have enough brains, you can make up for it with numbers. Using muscle memory to overcome brain comprehension, that's awesome. Looking at Qian Yong, Zhou Fu had an idea. He said, Senior brother Qian, please do a few more exercises for me to see clearly. Do more? Qian Yong was a little unhappy. He didn't want to waste his strength on this exercise. After all, he had already left this kind of training. Zhou Fu smiled and said, Senior brother Qian, please do another demonstration. I'll treat everyone in the tavern to a big meal tomorrow. How about it? From Ding Chuan's I'll go buy meat, Zhou Fu could tell that the living conditions of the people here were very ordinary. Moreover, if there was anything that could quickly bring people closer to each other, it would be eating. Qian Yong rolled his eyes and laughed. One meal? Zhou Fu was amused. How many meals do you want? I'll teach you, and you'll treat us to 5 meals of meat. It was a very simple idea. 10 meals, Zhou Fu said with a smile. If you can teach me how to use my strength, I'll treat you to 10 meals of meat. And it'll be good meat. Okay, Qian Yong said in a low voice. He raised the stone ball and threw it again. Zhou Fu stood behind Qian Yong. A faint golden light slowly appeared in his eyes. At the same time, the Akalanatha Dharma in his mind also opened its eyes. Its body emitted bursts of golden light. What I'm doing is amazing. I'll use the scripture of the Wisdom King to learn this. After sighing in his heart, he focused on observing and slowly deducing the method and technique of using his strength. Qian Yong was an ordinary person. Although he could make his strength follow his heart, there were still many flaws. Zhou Fu observed bit by bit and improved in his mind little by little. Junior brother, is it done? At this time, Qian Yong had done hundreds of times in a row. His whole body was soaked in sweat. The golden light in Zhou Fu's eyes was hidden. He said aloud, Okay. Bang. The stone ball fell to the ground. Qian Yong panted. I'm exhausted. I've already practiced 200 times this morning. Senior brother Qian, you've worked hard. I'll ask my family to prepare a sumptuous meal for everyone tonight. Qian Yong blinked and said, Isn't it tomorrow? Zhou Fu froze for a moment, then laughed. Senior brother, don't worry. This meal doesn't count. Okay. Senior brother, you rest first. I'll practice again. Zhou Fu picked up the stone ball and slowly tossed it up and down. Once failure. Twice thrice, after more than 10 times, Zhou Fu found the feeling. Although the technique of using his strength had been analyzed and optimized by the Dharma in his mind, his body had not adapted to this method. After 100 times, Zhou Fu was able to throw the stone ball at a normal speed. So this is the feeling, Zhou Fu said in a low voice. After mastering this technique, he could clearly feel that the strength he used to throw the stone ball was more than half of what it used to be. The stone ball floated more and more, but the vibration of Zhou Fu's body became smaller and smaller. Slowly, the stone ball's floating height also decreased. At the same time, The qi and blood in Zhou Fu's body began to circulate. In this way, the strength he used was saved again. Bang! The stone ball fell to the ground. Zhou Fu's face revealed a smile. As long as he went back and integrated this method of using strength into his own fighting, his strength would increase by 1 or 2 levels again. Good! Ding Chuan walked over excitedly. Zhou Fu gave a fist salute and said, "Thank you, Dojo Master, for your help." Ding Chuan raised his hand to help Zhou Fu up. His eyes were filled with excitement, but his heart was disappointed. This kind of genius could not inherit his legacy. Chapter 195. It was already noon and time for lunch. At this time, Ding Ho had also calmed down his excitement and was sitting in a chair, thinking about something. Zhou Fu looked at Qian Yong, who was resting at the side, and said to Ding Ho, "Dojo Master, I have an agreement with senior brother. If he teaches me how to exert strength, I will treat everyone to 10 big meals." Ding Ho came back to his senses and looked between Qian Yong and Zhou Fu. He seemed to have thought of something and smiled. He nodded. "You can do as you see fit." "Okay, then I will go and arrange it. I will get someone to send the dishes over later. Dojo Master and everyone can eat together." After speaking, without waiting for Ding Ho's response, Zhou Fu walked towards the door. Ding Ho looked at Qian Yong and asked, "De Yong, what did you two say?" "Just now, junior brother asked me to lift the stone ball, and he said he wanted to observe it. I said that I have already lifted it 200 times this morning. If I continue to practice, it will waste my energy and delay the rest of the training in the afternoon. So junior martial brother said that he would make up for the energy he had wasted. He wanted to treat everyone here to 10 meals of good meat." Looking at his appointed eldest disciple, Ding Ho was overjoyed. He did not expect that the most honest person would have his own little trick. This was just right. It would save him the trouble of not being able to fight and having to worry about the dojo. This Jin Shan martial dojo was not founded by Ding Ho, but by his father. Until now, it had been around for almost 50 years. Since then, most of the students in the martial arts school were from poor families. Those who were slightly better off, and some who were even worse off, all wanted to come here to learn some skills and then work as guards for those rich families. Although it was dangerous, it was also a job with a good income. To learn martial arts, one had to eat until they were full. Only when they were full would they have strength. More importantly, practicing martial arts not only required strength, but also a good body. If a sickly person practiced martial arts, there would be no benefits and he would die even faster. There were many ways to have a good body. The cheapest and most popular way was to eat meat. There must be meat every day to ensure the health of the body. After all, medicinal wine and medicinal pills were too expensive. The mountain-suppressing fist also had its own unique medicinal wine. However, due to the lack of money, these medicinal wines could not be distributed to all of the disciples. Thus, he concentrated them on his son and 2 other talented disciples. "Father, I'm back from buying meat." Ding Chuan's voice came from the door. Everyone in the boxing club turned to look. Ding Chuan happily walked to Ding Ho with the meat that was several times more than usual. "Father, look, this is today's meat. It will definitely fill everyone's stomachs." Unexpectedly, Ding Ho was not agitated. He waved his hand and said, "Okay, I got it. Go put the meat away first. We'll eat it tonight." Ding Chuan was stunned by their reaction. What was going on? Usually, the amount of meat was only enough to satisfy everyone's basic needs. Today, they were going to fill their stomach. Why weren't they excited? Ding Chuan turned his head and glanced around. It seemed that an important person was missing. His heart skipped a beat and he started to panic. Zhou Fu had disappeared. Where was Zhou Fu? Where was that rich young master from a rich family? "Father, where is young Master Zhou?" Before Ding Ho could respond, Zhou Fu walked in through the door. He came to Ding Ho and smiled at Ding Chuan as he passed him. Then he turned to Ding Ho and said, "Master, I've already arranged the food. Someone will send it over later. Where do you think we should eat? Ding Ho said, let's eat in the yard. De Yong, take a few people and bring out the tables and chairs. Yes, master. I'll go right away. Ding Chuan was stunned at first, then he laughed out loud. He didn't leave. It's good that he didn't leave. There's even a big meal. Haha, Ding Chuan really have good taste. Father, I'll go and tell Auntie Wang not to cook anymore. Go ahead. On the other side, under Qian Yong's arrangement, the people in the martial arts club stopped fighting. Then they went to the house to bring out the tables and chairs. They also brought water and started to wash the tables. An ant came out from the backyard of the martial arts club. She was short and fat, with dark skin and a kind face. At first glance, one could tell that she was an honest person who had worked hard for a long time. She walked to Ding Ho and whispered, Master, aren't you going to cook today? Well, I'm not cooking. Someone will send it over later. By the way, you should stay and eat. Ding Ho did not explain much. Then he said, by the way, this is a new student in the martial arts club. His name is Zhou Fu. Zhou Fu smiled and nodded, which was a greeting. Oh, okay. Aunt Wang said again. Then I'll go and bring out the bowls and chopsticks. By the time Aunt Wang took out the bowls and chopsticks, the dishes that Zhou Fu had arranged had also arrived. An ox cart was parked in front of the Zhen Shan Martial Arts Club. There were stacked food boxes on the cart. Zhou Fu said to Qian Yong, senior brother, this is our meal for today. You can ask someone to come and get it. Okay. Not only Qian Yong, but the other people in the courtyard were also happy. They walked over together and took down the food boxes from the cart. The driver was the waiter of the restaurant. He said to Qian Yong, just now, young Master Zhou ordered 11 days' worth of dishes. This is today's meal. By the way, you can keep the food boxes and plates first. I'll come and get them in 4 hours. Okay, I got it. After closing the door, 3 dining tables that were put together were filled with plates of exquisite meat. Ding Ho looked at the fragrant dishes and said in surprise, there are so many dishes, and they were delivered so quickly? Zhou Fu laughed. I was afraid that everyone would be hungry, so I asked someone to buy them from the 3 restaurants. That's very thoughtful. Ding Ho nodded and did not say anything more. The students sitting around the table began to swallow their saliva. However, there were still some things that he had to make clear. Ding Ho pointed at Zhou Fu and introduced him to everyone. This is your junior brother, Zhou Fu. Today's dishes were also prepared by him. Qian Yong was the first to say, thank you, junior brother. If you need anything in the future, just come to me. Thank you, junior brother. Yes, thank you, junior brother. Okay. Let's eat. As Ding Ho spoke, the chopsticks on the table danced for a while. The dishes were quickly reduced until only the plates were left. When everyone was almost done eating, Ding Ho said to Zhou Fu, in the afternoon, everyone will rest for 2 hours after lunch, and then we will start practicing again. Do you need a room here? No, thank you for your concern. My house is not far from here. I can go back and rest. Well, okay. Then I'll take my leave, master. Okay, be careful on the way. After Zhou Fu left the boxing club, the other brothers also returned to their rooms to rest. At this time, Ding Chuan asked, Dad, is young Master Zhou in our boxing club? Yes. Then why didn't he call you master? Ding Ho rolled his eyes at Ding Chuan, and then sighed in his heart. His only son was really worrisome. Was that meal delicious? He asked. Of course it was delicious. I've never eaten such delicious food. Ding Chuan answered seriously, and then asked softly, Then, will there be more in 10 days? Puff. Ouch. Ding Chuan held his head and screamed. Ding Ho looked at him, exasperated. Eat. You only know how to eat. That meal cost at least 100 taels. How can I be called master by someone who can feed us for a month with just 1 meal? Even if he dares to call me master, I dare to acknowledge him. Where's your brain? 100 taels. My God! Ding Chuan didn't feel any pain. He was just shocked. Ding Ho pointed at the prints on the meal boxes. See Return Restaurant, Wangjiang Restaurant, Wanghai Restaurant. Do you think the signboards of these 3 restaurants are white prints? Then he sighed and walked into the house. As he walked, he sighed. Ancestor, what sin have I committed to give birth to a brainless child? Watching Ding Ho's figure disappear into the house, Ding Chuan muttered, brainless? If it weren't for my good brain, how could Zhou Fu come by himself? You can eat this kind of food, TSK? When Zhou Fu returned to his residence, Yu Zhu came up to him. Young master, you're back. I've prepared the food for you. Good. The two of them chatted as they walked. Yu Zhu asked, Young master, will you be going to that martial arts school often in the future? More or less. I'll be there for a while. Why? Do you want me to send food to them every day? Sitting down at the dining table, Zhou Fu thought for a while and shook his head. Forget it, there's no need. 10 more days will do. Yes. Just as he was about to pick up his chopsticks to eat, Zhou Fu thought of something and said to Yu Zhu, Go and ask Huang Feng about the progress of the Chun family's development of the elixir to alleviate hunger. Yes, young master. I'll go ask him now. Looking at the table full of food, Zhou Fu sighed. It's not good to eat too much. It's so troublesome to eat so much every day. After spending nearly an hour eating, Zhou Fu didn't rest. With the help of the 3 wheels returning to origin transformation technique, he converted almost as much food as he ate. The speed of digestion was even faster than the speed of eating. This made Zhou Fu feel a little uncomfortable. He ate, but he didn't seem to have eaten. But his body also gave him feedback. He was full. Zhou Fu's courtyard was a small martial arts field. He came out of the dining room. Anyway, the food in his body had been converted. His spirit was also quite full under the effect of the 3 wheels returning to origin transformation technique. I have to quickly integrate this technique into my body. According to Zhou Fu's plan, after the Jin family's second young mistress, Bai Lang's wife, got rid of the poison, he would let Bai Lang kill Zhang Yao. Then, he could deal with Chun Wenyao and that strange village. This time, because of Zhang Yao, he felt that his relationship with Xing Gang had reached a freezing point. If he delayed any longer, the conflict between the two of them might erupt. Moreover, according to Xing Feng's request, he still needed to teach Xing Gang a lesson. And Xing Gang was the second son of the Xing family. How could he be easy to deal with? Power. I need power. Chapter 196. In the training field, the moves of the demonic whale-killing fist flowed out from Zhou Fu's hand. With the method of releasing force that he had just learned, the strangeness and variability of the demonic whale-killing fist was also revealed a little. After finishing the first round, Zhou Fu did not stop. He continued with the second round. This time, the transition between the moves was smoother and smoother. His understanding of the fist technique had also deepened. Zhou Fu's figure constantly moved. 3 rounds, 4 rounds, after 10 times, 4 hours had passed, which was 4 hours. At this time, Zhou Fu's body was covered in sweat. Practicing like this is a little tiring, Zhou Fu sighed. As he stood in the stance, the surging blood and qi in his body slowly calmed down. After the heat of his blood and qi was restrained, Zhou Fu was surprised to find that his blood and qi had condensed a little. Although it was only a little, it was terrifying when compared to Zhou Fu's current physical fitness. What a good thing. Looks like I'll have to practice more in the future. Zhou Fu chuckled. He looked at the sky and gave up on the idea of integrating the method of exerting force into his attack. He was going to learn the mountain-subduing fist. Men, prepare the carriage. Yes. With the carriage, it was much faster. 15 minutes later, Zhou Fu arrived at the training hall. At this time, the disciples of the training hall were already practicing. When Ding Ho saw that Zhou Fu was 2 hours late, he was a little unhappy. After all, as a martial master, he did not like a sloppy attitude. However, he did not say anything. After all, Zhou Fu came from a good family. He did not need to fight for anything. Thinking about it this way, he let him be. You're here? Greetings, Hall Master. Ding Ho nodded and said, You've already learned the method of exerting force this morning. This afternoon, I'll let Qian Yong teach you the routine of the mountain subduing fist. When you've memorized the routine, I'll teach you the formula. At this point, Ding Ho's expression turned solemn. He looked at Zhou Fu and said, You might not necessarily think highly of my fist technique, but I still have to make it clear that the chant of this fist technique cannot be divulged to outsiders. Otherwise, I'd rather risk my life to take back your fist art. Zhou Fu understood this. Just like those martial masters of the past, they could pass on their routines or even change them as they pleased. However, the core of the technique had never been passed on. Don't worry, dojo master. As long as I leave the dojo, I won't mention anything related to the chant. Ding Chuan nodded. Okay. He turned to look at Qian Yong. De Yong, come here. Coming, master. Take your junior Zhou to learn the mountain suppressing fist. Yes. Qian Yong brought Zhou Fu to an open space. He said to Zhou Fu, Junior brother Zhou, look carefully. Although he said this, he still hoped that Zhou Fu would let him practice a few more times. This way, he might be able to earn a few more meals. Qian Yong wasn't greedy. After eating Zhou Fu's treat today, he realized that he was full of energy the entire afternoon. After training for 2 hours, he didn't feel hungry at all. If it had been a normal meal, his stomach would have been growling by now. The mountain suppressing fist has a total of 28 forms. The moves are simple and easy to understand. Junior brother Zhou, you have to look carefully. After Qian Yong instructed, he began to practice the fist technique. No matter what, Qian Yong had been practicing for several years. He was strong and had learned some of the technique. Ding Ho was also observing this disciple of his from the side. In Zhou Fu's eyes, Qian Yong was full of openings. He could easily break his opponent's rhythm with a single move. Now that he had to learn from Qian Yong, Zhou Fu felt very uncomfortable. He really wanted to give Qian Yong some pointers. The 28 forms were quickly completed. Zhou Fu had also memorized most of the move. Qian Yong looked at Zhou Fu and asked, Junior brother, do you want me to demonstrate it to you again? Before Zhou Fu could reply, Ding Ho couldn't stand it anymore. He scolded in a low voice, Bastard! Don't you know how badly you've beaten the mountain suppressing fist? You still have the nerve to say this. Qian Yong trembled. The smile on his face instantly disappeared. In front of Ding Ho, he was like a primary school student who had been caught red-handed. He lowered his head, waiting to be scolded. Master, didn't you say that the fist technique focuses on intent and not strength? I felt that I was doing okay. Ding Ho's eyelids twitched. The anger in his heart also rose. Alright, you're all grown up now. You know how to use my words to brush me off. Yes, I did say that it focuses on intent and not strength. But you don't even care about your specialty. Is your brain filled with water? Then, Ding Ho's aura rose and he pushed Qian Yong away. Everyone stop. Come here. In an instant, all the students in the courtyard gathered around. When all the disciples gathered around, Ding Ho's face was filled with anger. He said in a low voice, My mountain-suppressing fist technique focuses on intent and not strength. That's right. But this is not a reason for you to be lazy. Today I'll repeat it for you. Remember it well. This fist technique is like a big tree. Intent is the soul of the tree. It's the roots. This is still far from you. As for the technique, it's the tree trunk. The roots have to be deep, and the trunk has to be thick and strong. The technique is the branches and leaves. As long as the roots are deep and the tree is strong, the branches and leaves will flourish. On the other hand, the roots are shallow and the branches are weak. If you fight with it, you will be in danger of losing your life. Ding Ho's gaze swept around and opened his mouth to say, After you all leave this place, what you're going to do, I think you all also know in your hearts. What you have to face, you know better than anyone else. I'll say the same thing. If you want to live, work hard now. Build a strong foundation. You've eaten your fill today. Now I'll show you. Later, each and every one of you will train hard. Listen carefully. Yes, Master. Whoosh. A powerful aura rose from Ding Ho's body, followed by the sound of rushing water. This was the qi and blood in his body surging, accompanied by waves of heat. The surrounding disciples could not resist this aura. Each and every one of them had a look of horror on their faces as they retreated. Zhou Fu did not want to be the first one to stand out, so he also retreated a few steps. However, he did not retreat too far, because he still had to carefully observe Ding Ho's mountain-suppressing fist. To be able to learn from Ding Ho was many times better than learning from Qian Yong. Zhou Fu's eyes glowed with a golden light again. Ding Ho instantly sensed it and turned to look at him. The two of them looked at each other and saw the astonishment in each other's eyes. A martial artist's perception is still very sensitive. After saying this, Ding Ho turned around. After being reminded, the golden light in Zhou Fu's eyes dimmed. As the saying goes, the master leads the way, but the cultivation depends on the individual. The core of this fist technique is the word mountain. Mountain is about weight and stability. It's still too early to tell you all this. You can listen first. After giving a few words of advice, Ding Ho stopped talking and began to demonstrate the fist technique. 28 forms, nearly 100 movements, were displayed in Ding Ho's hands as smoothly as flowing water. Zhou Fu could not help but praise him in his heart. The first time, it felt like the clouds were unfolding. Then, Ding Ho did not stop. Instead, he began the second time. After the first punch of the second time, Ding Ho's entire aura changed. He was like a mountain, with a heavy force surrounding him. The third time, Ding Ho felt like he was fighting against a powerful enemy. His heart was filled with killing intent mixed with his surging qi and blood. The surrounding disciples were shocked and retreated into the distance. After the third time, Ding Ho stopped and stood up. His killing intent dissipated and his qi and blood gathered. "Thank you for teaching me, Gym Master." Zhou Fu cupped his fists and bowed. With Zhou Fu's reminder, the martial arts dojo's disciples, who had been scared out of their wits, quickly walked over and bowed. "Thank you, Master, for imparting your skills to us." Ding Ho smiled and waved his hand. "All right, you all can go and practice. Zhou Fu, come with me. I'll teach you the formula." From Zhou Fu's strange behavior just now, he knew that he had learned most of the moves of this fist technique. The next step was to familiarize himself with them. He might as well teach him the formula as well. Yes. The group dispersed. Zhou Fu followed Ding Ho into the room. "Gym Master." Ding Ho nodded and said, "Before teaching you, I still have to say that the formula is not to be leaked." "Yes, I'll keep it in mind." "Good." Then, Ding Ho began to teach Zhou Fu step by step what to do and how to coordinate with the move. During this process, Zhou Fu instantly understood what it meant by "a sentence from the true scripture is equivalent to 10,000 books." "All right, I've said what I need to say. Don't ask about what you can't say," Ding Ho said calmly. Zhou Fu also understood the meaning of this sentence. In the teaching just now, the first 24 moves had corresponding formulas and techniques, but the last 4 moves had no formulas. This was probably the legendary ultimate move. "Thank you, Gym Master." Zhou Fu cupped his fists and bowed. He was not Ding Ho's last disciple. He was just a student who paid the tuition to learn the fist technique. He was also not responsible for inheriting the mountain-subduing fist. Of course, others would not pass on such an ultimate move. The reason Zhou Fu came here to learn the fist technique was not for Ding Ho's ultimate move, but for the aura. He opened his mouth and asked, "Gym Master, I have a question. When you were practicing earlier, the aura on your body, can you teach me?" Hearing Zhou Fu's question, Ding Ho's face revealed a smile. He looked at Zhou Fu and said, "You probably joined my mountain subduing fist school because of this, right?" There was nothing to hide about this. Zhou Fu nodded and admitted, "Yes. Haha, you are quite honest. This is one of the reasons why martial masters can compete with those cultivators." Ding Ho's tone was full of sorrow. After all, the current world was the home field of cultivators. Martial masters could only do some guard work or escort work. But martial masters were different. They were the main characters of this world. Almost all the benefits would be divided up by the martial masters. Martial masters did not even have the opportunity to drink the soup. What was even more difficult for a traditional martial master like Ding Ho to accept was that many martial masters had a desire to cultivate inner strength. They practiced martial arts in order to get close to martial masters and then join them. Not only did the martial Dao not rise, it even showed signs of decline. Recovering from his sadness, Ding Ho said to Zhou Fu, "Of course I will teach you. But us martial masters call it intent. Normally, we call it martial intent. But it doesn't matter. Aura is aura. My aura was born from the mountain-suppressing fist." This name is actually a bit ambiguous. Originally, according to the meaning of the senior who created this fist technique, it was a mountain, not a mountain. Speaking of this, Ding Ho's face revealed a smile, as if he was reminiscing. Mountain as a mountain? Hearing this explanation, Zhou Fu was stunned. Ding Ho laughed. "Don't you think it's inconceivable? When I found out, my expression was the same as yours. I couldn't believe it. But there's no other way. That's what the senior meant. The aura that I cultivate can be called mountain aura. Mountains are thick, solid, and solid." As he explained, a heavy pressure emitted from Ding Ho's body. The surrounding air seemed to have a certain weight. Chant. It can suppress all things. At this moment, Ding Ho could be said to be awe-inspiring. But this state only lasted for a moment. The mountain aura dissipated and the blood and qi returned to his body. Ai. What a pity. This kind of wish is just a thought. Not to mention suppressing all things, I can't even beat a peak bone forging expert, let alone suppress them. Head, how do I cultivate this thing? Zhou Fu didn't care if this thing could suppress all things. What he wanted to cultivate was not the mountain-subduing fist's aura. As for the aura, the demonic whale-killing fist, was a ready-made technique. Ding Ho laughed and said to Zhou Fu, "You're biting off more than you can chew. You've just started learning the moves of the mountain-subduing fist, and you already want to know this?" As soon as he said this, Ding Ho thought of Zhou Fu's background. He came from a rich family and cultivated inner strength. He could take all kinds of pills. He guessed that the other party wasn't asking about the aura of his mountain-subduing fist, but the method to cultivate it. After obtaining the method, he could cultivate other technique. At this moment, Ding Ho guessed most of Zhou Fu's intentions. So it turns out that he doesn't like my mountain-subduing fist. Thinking of this, Ding Ho's expression changed. He was even a little angry. With a gloomy face, he suppressed the anger in his heart and said in a low voice, "It's still too early for you to ask this. I can't teach you the method for now." Looking at Zhou Fu's somewhat disappointed expression, Ding Ho continued, "However, I can tell you about my cultivation experience back then. As for the cultivation method, I'll tell you after you've fully comprehended my mountain-subduing fist." "Brat, you're looking down on my fist technique? I'll make sure you cultivate the mountain-subduing fist, to the point of aura." At this moment, Zhou Fu, who was observing Ding Ho, was still confused. Why did Ding Ho's expression change so quickly after he asked a question? One moment he was sad, the next he was angry, and in the end he even wanted to hit him. Hearing Ding Ho say that he wouldn't teach him the cultivation method for now, Zhou Fu was disappointed. However, when he heard that Ding Ho wanted to teach him his experience, the flame of hope reignited in his heart. He cupped his hands and bowed, "Thank you, Gym Master. Yes, I used a stupid method back then, but it was also the most effective method, which was to fully comprehend the mountain-subduing fist. Once I understood the principles behind it, I would naturally comprehend the aura. Hey, brat, train well for me. After you've mastered it, no matter what, you'll be part of my mountain-subduing fist. Chapter 197. The autumn sun was a little lazy. In the Jinshan boxing dojo, Zhou Fu was practicing the Jinshan fist non-stop. With the help of the Wisdom King scripture and his personal cultivation experience, he improved rapidly. Almost every time he practiced, he was better than before. In the beginning, Zhou Fu's improvement shocked the people in the boxing dojo. Ding Ho, who was calmer, didn't think much of it at first. He thought that with Zhou Fu's background, he would definitely improve faster than the others. After all, he had so many resources behind him. However, after 10 days, the other students in the boxing dojo were calm, but Ding Ho was shocked. It wasn't a problem to improve quickly in the beginning. After all, he had just started practicing. But after he was familiar with it, it was his body's habit of exerting force. He had to coordinate it with the fist technique. The two would harmonize and finally stimulate the force. After the fist technique had reached a certain level of proficiency, it would be very difficult to improve further unless it was a sudden epiphany. However, that kind of state could only be found by chance. It could only be perfected by diligent practice every day. Not only did it consume physical and mental strength, but it also consumed mental and physical strength. After all, he had to use his heart to feel every time he practiced the fist technique. It must be fake. 10 days. 10 days is almost catching up to me, who has been practicing for decades. Is there really such a thing as a genius in this world? Isn't that stuff from books? It had been 15 days since Zhou Fu joined the boxing dojo, which was half a month. In this half a month, Zhou Fu's Jinshan fist had grown from a newbie to the number 1 in the boxing dojo, excluding Ding Ho. Moreover, from Zhou Fu's movements, he was simply imitating Ding Ho's previous practice. The strength, rhythm, breathing, and even the charm were all highly similar. When Ding Ho thought that Zhou Fu was only imitating him, Zhou Fu's fist technique changed again. This time, it had a little of his personal understanding, which was completely different from Ding Ho's. Seeing this, Ding Ho took a deep breath and picked up the freshly brewed tea. He didn't care if it was boiling hot or not. He drank it in one gulp. Why can't he be my successor? Seeing a genius standing in front of him and learning his fist technique, he couldn't help but sigh. However, the other party was not his core disciple. This kind of feeling made him extremely uncomfortable. His heart and liver felt unbearable. Should I remind him of the key points of the last 4 moves? That way, he will be able to directly cultivate the force. As soon as this thought appeared, Ding Ho was shocked by his own thoughts. No. Although I, Ding Jinshan, am not strong, I still have to protect my bottom line. However, another voice rang out in his mind, don't hold on any longer. Once you die, who will inherit the mountain-suppressing fist? Qian Yong? Ding Ho turned to look at Qian Yong, only to see that he was also staring at Zhou Fu. His eyes were wide open as he muttered something under his breath. Is he reliable? That voice said again. His tone was very disdainful. It could be said that he was quite arrogant. Unreliable. With Zhou Fu as a comparison, Ding Ho instantly gave the answer in his heart. You still want to rely on your half-baked son to Ding Chuan? This time, Ding Ho did not even need to think. He directly retorted. If Ding Chuan was reliable and could inherit his mantle, he would not have given part of the core technique and the breathing technique to Qian Yong. He even let Qian Yong look at the foundation of the mountain-suppressing fist, the 1,000 Mountains painting. However, it was also at that time that Ding Ho realized that some people were just stupid. At that time, Qian Yong stared at the 1,000 Mountains painting for an hour before finally falling asleep. Ding Ho was so angry that he directly pinned Qian Yong down and gave him a good beating. Sigh. Humans really can't be compared. Ding Ho sighed and said directly. Compared to what? Ding Chuan came out. Ding Ho rolled his eyes and said, Get lost. Okay. A small cloud of dust rose on the road. Ding Chuan's figure disappeared outside the door. Suck. A gust of cold air entered his body, suppressing the anger in Ding Ho's heart. Tap, tap, tap. Footsteps sounded. Master, these tea leaves are okay, right? I'll bring you some later. Zhou Fu walked over with a smile on his face. Ding Ho was also happy. No matter what, Zhou Fu was still a member of the martial arts club. Although he was not a core disciple, he was still a disciple. Ha 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 ha, good. This expensive tea is indeed different. It leaves a fragrance in my mouth. As long as you like it. Zhou Fu paused and said, I feel that there are still some areas that I need to improve today, but my body can't take it anymore. I'll go back first. Practicing martial arts requires a certain amount of relaxation. You've been too anxious recently. Take it slow. Remember, as long as you persist, you will gain something. It's even more so when practicing martial arts. Go back and rest today. Thank you for your advice, Master. See you tomorrow. After saying that, Zhou Fu turned and left the martial arts club. Looking at Zhou Fu's disappearing figure, Ding Ho muttered, Damn it, if you don't relax, you'll finish your apprenticeship soon. What can I teach you? It's so scary. Master, what's scary? A cold voice suddenly rang out beside him, scaring Ding Ho so much that he almost slapped the person in front of him. What are you doing? Why are you here instead of practicing your martial arts? Ding Ho said angrily. Qian Yong shrank back and smiled awkwardly. He whispered, Master, did you notice? That junior brother Zhou is practicing better than me now. Oh, he found it out himself. Ding Ho looked at him with a faint smile and said, Since you know, why aren't you practicing hard? This. Qian Yong's face showed a difficult expression. He stammered, Master, that? I want to know, did you say something to junior brother Zhou? How did he improve so quickly? You saw it too. I've been practicing for 5 years. Apart from the days when I was running darts outside, I never stopped. Ding Ho's expression calmed down, but his heart was filled with mixed feelings. He could not find a word to describe the feeling. After a moment of silence, he slowly opened his mouth and asked, What do you want to say? Qian Yong's expression also darkened. His smile disappeared and he became serious. He looked straight into Ding Ho's eyes and asked, Master, I've been practicing with you for 5 years. More than 1,800 days and nights. Was all this effort in vain? Zhou Fu has only been here for a dozen days. Do you think it's normal for him to improve so quickly? Ding Ho's tone became strange. Do you think I've taught Zhou Fu something in private? No. Qian Yong asked. Do you think so? Ding Ho returned to the topic. Qian Yong was silent. Ding Ho also did not speak. The atmosphere between the two slowly became oppressive. After a while, Qian Yong said in a calm tone, If Master says no, then no. It's your disciple's heart that was confused. I shouldn't have doubted Master. Please punish me. With that, Qian Yong knelt down with a thump. At this time, the students in the courtyard all turned their heads to look. They wanted to know what had happened and why their eldest senior brother had suddenly knelt down in front of their master. Continue to practice. Don't be lazy. The disciples trembled and hurriedly said, Yes, Master. Then they turned around and continued to practice. However, they all pricked up their ears and tried to listen. Even the sound of training was much quieter. Ding Ho also noticed this change, but he did not say anything. It was good to let them listen to what had happened today. It would prevent gossip from spreading. It would be a big deal if the people in the boxing club changed their minds. Get up first. Yes. Thank you, Master. Sit. I don't dare. There's nothing to be afraid of. Sit down. This. Yes. Qian Yong sat down. At this time, he was actually a little nervous. Ding Ho poured a cup of tea for Qian Yong, and then poured a cup for himself. Then he said, "It's normal for you to have such thoughts. Now I'm also shocked by Zhou Fu's talent." "Don't be surprised. It's talent. Before I met Zhou Fu, I always sneered at this stuff. I felt that this kind of thing was only available to storytellers in teahouses and restaurants. Now, it's my lack of knowledge. You want to ask me what I said to Zhou Fu that day? Is it different from yours? If I say no now, would you believe me?" Ding Ho looked at Qian Yong with a smile. "I believe you. Of course I believe you." Qian Yong trembled and hurriedly said. However, no one knew what he was thinking and whether he believed it or not. Ding Ho did not dwell on this matter and continued, "It doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. That day, I passed the incantation to Zhou Fu and taught him some of the essentials. You have all experienced these things. By the way, I didn't teach the last 4 moves, but I told him about it. It was exactly the same as the first time I passed the incantation to you. Of course, there are also differences." As soon as this sentence was said, the courtyard quieted down. Everyone looked at Ding Ho, wanting him to give an explanation. After all, these people had been in the sect for a long time. Why did Ding Ho care so much for someone who called him Club Master? He actually passed on more things. Ding Ho's gaze swept around and sneered, full of disdain. "Don't be unconvinced. I told Zhou Fu about the force in the fist technique, but I didn't teach him the cultivation method. I only told him about my cultivation experience. Regarding this point, as long as you meet the requirements to cultivate force, I will pass it on to everyone. It has been more than 40 years since I took over this boxing club from my father. In these years, there have been 12 martial practitioners who have cultivated force. You can check and ask. Other than that, there is nothing else. Master, it's not that disciple is oversensitive, but Zhou Fu's fist technique moves and temperament are exactly the same as when you are boxing." Qian Yong's eyes were somewhat unwilling to accept this. At this moment, he even somewhat hoped that Ding Ho would admit that he had taught Zhou Fu something in private. Otherwise, what was his 5 years of persistence? Was this a joke? "You don't need to say it. I can see it." Ding Ho shook his head and sighed. "Until the second to last time, his movements were exactly the same as when I was practicing. Not to mention you, even I don't believe that Zhou Fu only saw it once and remembered it. However, there are some things that you can't not believe. Normally, you are the last to leave and the first to come during the day. Have you ever seen Zhou Fu come here before you?" Qian Yong lowered his head. His voice was somewhat hoarse. "No. But that Zhou Fu has such talent and such a deep background. Why did he come here to learn fist techniques? Doesn't he know inner strength? Even if he is as strong as Master, he can't beat an expert at the 3rd level of bone forging." Ding Ho's face darkened. He was actually exposed in front of everyone by his eldest disciple. His heart immediately burned with anger. "You will have to ask Zhou Fu about this." After saying this, Ding Ho lay down on the chair and grabbed the teapot. His eyes were half closed and he looked like he was about to fall asleep. Qian Yong sat for a while and said, "Thank you, Master, for clearing my doubts. Today I was blinded. I hope Master won't blame me." After saying this, he stood up and walked to the side to begin practicing. When the other disciples in the martial arts hall saw Qian Yong like this, they hurriedly got to work. Ding Ho glanced at Qian Yong. Mountain subduing fist had already lost all its charm in his hands. It was obvious that he was absent-minded. Practicing like this would not only have no effect, but would also harm the body. After all, practicing fist techniques required the activation of qi and blood. Qi and blood could not be circulated carelessly. 5 years. Who would have thought, who would have thought? After Zhou Fu boarded the carriage on his way home, he began to ponder. What kind of force, or rather, what kind of intent, he should cultivate. On this day at the Mountain Subduing Fist Hall, especially during these few days when he was rapidly improving his mountain-subduing fist. He could clearly feel that Ding Ho wanted to guide him to complete the force of the mountain-subduing fist, which was the mountain force. Moreover, Zhou Fu did not disappoint. He felt the threshold of the mountain force, then stood at the door and did not enter. After all, compared to what Zhou Fu had learned, the level of mountain-subduing fist was too low. After returning home, Zhou Fu went to the training field. Demonic Whale Killing Fist is the martial art that I am most familiar with, followed by Adamantine Battle Body. This martial arts foundation is Art of Copper Armor and Secret Manual of Iron Bones. If I were to cultivate this martial art, I would have to choose one that I would focus on. After pondering for a long time, Zhou Fu finally decided to cultivate Demonic Whale Killing Fist. He raised his hand. He punched. After punching, Zhou Fu felt a cool sensation between his eyebrows. The black mist rising from his feet and the faint blood-red glow in his body instantly dissipated. That's not right. The martial art that I am most familiar with should be Wisdom King Scripture. Zhou Fu's eyes widened. Have I lost my mind? I can't believe I am using a demonic martial art to cultivate force. If I were to cultivate this thing too deeply, there would definitely be a big problem. Thinking of this, Zhou Fu only felt a wave of fear. There was definitely something wrong with his thoughts just now. I've really seen a ghost. Focusing his mind, Zhou Fu's consciousness sank into his sea of consciousness and communicated with the Akala Dharma idol. Boom! Boundless flames appeared behind the Dharma idol, turning his sea of consciousness into a sea of fire. Roar! A sorrowful and indignant roar of a beast rang out. It was a sea of blood formed by the killing intent of Demonic Whale Killing Fist. As expected, you really won't give up your evil intentions. Zhou Fu sighed.